Phasic Tipton lore kicks off Whitney Day next on Saratoga Live. The Hall of Famer and two-time Breeders' Cup Mile winner Lore is remembered today at historic Saratoga. We'll hear from his trainer, Shug McGahee, who looks to fire away the fifth running of the Lore. McGahee's 5-year-old fire away would be a special win for the man who trained the former turf star. Can Gunrunner get it done in the Whitney? All the pressure is on one of the world's top thoroughbreds, especially if his front-running style is compromised. Welcome to Whitney Day at Saratoga. The house is absolutely packed for one of the best days of the meet at the premier racetrack in all the country. Welcome to Saratoga Live, everyone. Great to have you with us on one of the premier days of this meet. It's presented by Claiborne Farm, 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Greg Wolf alongside former New York Met and Los Angeles Dodger Paul LaDuca. Everyone a little bit more amped up when it is Whitney Day. It is a special afternoon here. Of course, that race is going to be sensational. We have one of the top horses in the entire world back in action here, trying to make it 3 in a row in Gunrunner, and some very good 2-year-old races you'll see on our show as well. Yeah, you got to see this, the future stars. You're right. There's a couple 2-year-old races. We'll get one on the grass, and then there's another one, and there's some other ones that have been earlier in the day where we've seen some nice horses. But I think what you take out of this day is not only the Whitney, you get to see the best older horse maybe in America in Gunrunner. A lot of people arguing with that with Arrogate. You get to see a little bit of both. You get to see some turf runners, and you get to see the 3-year-old fillies in the test. Dynamite day of racing. The rain has gone away, and it is beautiful out. And that Lore that we have for you, a loaded group competing on the turf. That is race 7. That will kick off the Naira Bets late pick 5. Here's the races that we're bringing you this afternoon. A couple of 2-year-old races. This first one, a mile and a 16th on the turf for 2-year-olds. Race 6, we'll get to see some sprinters, most of them debuting on the dirt in that race. And then that 7th race is the 5th running of the Lore, the Hall of Famer, 2-time Breeders' Cup Mile winner, and Chad Brown has 3 in that race. It's almost a reunion of the last few Hall of Fame runners. It's true. He's got projected in there, who I think, you know, is going to get probably heavily bet. I don't know, maybe or under bet a little bit, excuse me, and take over Target. I think will actually come down from that morning line. Play along with us from home as you watch all these races that we bring you. Get signed up and started with Naira Bets. We have a $200 sign-up bonus when you bet $200. You get $200 in your account. Use the promo code PICK5 to get signed up and started. You can get signed up with Naira Bets all across the country. Track conditions on Whitney Day brought to you by John Deere. Main track is fast. Turf condition listed as firm. Let's take a look at the field for our first live event here on the show. Coming up, mile and a 16th on the turf. Maiden special weight, and right now it is Eclipsed Moon for Kenny McPeak. One of the few with experience in this race who was the favorite, debuted at Ellis Park. Was dynamite in his debut. Absolutely got left and was about 6 or 7 wide on the far turn. Just started leaning in late and just missed. The horse to beat just because on paper, that's all you really see. A lot of first-time starters in here. Well, this is a perfect race where we need the expertise of one of the best in the business and how they look in the paddock. That's Maggie Wolfendale.
Well, Greg, thank you for that kind introduction. As we'll take a look at your favorite, and deservedly so, as you just heard Paulie say and talk about number 6, Eclipse Moon, and really the winner of that race got a much more ideal trip. And looking at him, he looks like the horse to beat here, guys. He fits perfectly with these conditions. He is a son, of Beautician. She was a very nice runner herself. He's big, he's scopy. I like what I'm seeing from Eclipse Moon as your favorite. Another horse that has run but sprinting is number 10, Survey, for trainer Tom Proctor, and he just gave the impression in that first race that he would want more ground, and he gets it here, and physically he looks like that too. He's also strengthened up a bit behind the saddle. He's dappled head to toe. He looks great here in his second start. Would be nice to get a win for Glen Hill Farm as well. Now, as far as first-time starters are concerned, number 8 is Shoke for trainer Todd Pletcher. Now, the dam of this one is a half to a Fleet Alex. He's a son of Scat Daddy here, Shoke, and he's a big, solid 2-year-old. I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to this spot more for the distance as opposed to the surface. I think he'll be able to handle the turf here, but it might be more of a distance thing with him. And then finally taking a look at number 7, Irish Territory. As far as dams are concerned, this one's dam is a hat to Zakova, our Grade 1 Man of War winner, beating the boys in her start here in America for Dermot Weld. This guy, I'm not sure if he's quite tuned in for his debut. He certainly has a pedigree. He has the looks, but I just don't know if he's going to be able to do it at first asking, as we'll send it over to Tom and Andy.
Thanks, Maggie. Tom, I'm interested in the 10 survey. It's a horse that has plenty of turf pedigree, obviously a Galileo coming over here. I don't think it's reasonable to expect a Galileo to win first time out going 6 furlongs, but isn't the stretch out going to be exactly what this horse needs?
Well, perhaps the stretch out is what that horse needs, but looking closely at the dam side of that pedigree, you're going to look at a mare that ran on the grass 4 different times, never won, and that is significant to me, Andy. When the female side doesn't show any turf in the family, and of course it's a limited family, this is the first foal, but when the mama didn't do it well, it makes me worried the baby may not.
I'm hoping the War Front comes through. Those are obviously excellent points, but here's my question with the 6 Eclipse Moon. People see the horse ran second, and he was relatively wide around the turn, 3 to 5 wide by the time they hit the stretch, and I'm not knocking him, he ran fine. That was the pea patch at Ellis Park. Yeah. That's the kind of place you win all the time. This is Saratoga,
Hey, be careful there. Well, all you got to do is look at that turf course and maybe scratch your head a little bit, because it looks like a putting green. It literally, they're going across it like it's cement, and they run that fast. So, yeah, okay, he liked the grass that day. This is real grass today.
Much different turf course, though I will say the horse that beat him did have a much cozier trip as we head upstairs.
Andy Serling firing away shots early on, but that's okay. We got plenty of time left in the show to get back at him. Post-parade coming up for this 4th race here as you get a look at Irish Territory for Bill Mott, one of many making his debut. He's a son of Declaration of War, part of that Claiborne Stallion roster. Joel Rosario will be aboard. We kick things off in our post-parade, however, with the 2. Both the 1 and 1A are out. This is Trumpy, Bill Mott runner as well, with Junior Alvarado aboard.
Yeah, this is one of many horses that are making their first starts, their debuts today. But a nice turf pedigree here, as the mom was a stakes winner on the grass.
Monteleone is the 3, a son of Derby winner Super Saver for Wesley Ward with Jose Ortiz.
While the dam won on the turf and has produced a turf winner, she's a little obstreperous out there as well. It's more of a dirt pedigree.
Reared up there, you see the 2016 Fasig-Tipton Saratoga Select Yearling grad. The 4, Nipawa, for Mark Casse with Javier Castellano debuts.
One of 2 Mark Casse starters in this race, and I think one that's primed for a race on the grass with a lot of prep over the turf.
The 5, Strong Current, son of Derby winner Orb. Blinkers go on for trainer Joe Sharp with Luis Saez.
We've seen Orb sire a winner on the turf already at Saratoga going long. This one already had a prep on the dirt, should improve.
Eclipsed Moon, Irad Ortiz Jr. aboard for Kenny McPeak, one of the few with experience in here.
There you go. Has the experience over the turf course, only got beaten in the neck, and therefore kind of takes the favorites role here at 3 to 1.
And here is the son of Declaration of War, trained by Bill Mott, Joel Rosario on Irish Territory for Zayat Stables.
Of the 2 Bill Mott runners, this one's taking a little bit more money. Obviously has a turf pedigree, and Mott can win with a firster, especially at Saratoga on the grass.
7 to 2 on Shoke, who's a little rambunctious here as well for trainer Todd Pletcher with John Velasquez.
Yeah, it's a first-time starter whose last 4 works were over the turf course here at the Oklahoma track. A horse that obviously has been pressing to this spot.
The gray, he's by Rattlesnake Bridge, who was by Tappet, trained by Dominic Schettino with Kendrick Carmouche.
The dam actually produced a couple winners on the turf. This is more of a dirt pedigree on the sire side. We'll find out.
Survey, the 10 Tom Proctor trainee, Florent Giroux rides for Glen Hill Farm, another with experience.
The only other horse with turf experience, and he's stretching out the 2 turns today.
And in from the also eligible list, Manny Franco, a rider change on He Takes Charge for trainer Mark Casse.
Has a huge pedigree in the 2nd generation, the dam, including Take Charge Indy and Will Take Charge, who won our Travers for Wayne Lucas. Far as turf, questionable.
Andy, give us a winner, please, here in the 4th.
Thanks. Thanks for the desperation, Greg. Greg, you need to make some money so you can afford dinner tonight. I recommend betting on the 10-horse near Survey. I like him. I hope he doesn't go under 7 to 2. I hope he goes up in odds.
Those silks, usually a good play on the turf. Glen Hill Farm and Tom Proctor. We'll have the 4th for you when we come back. We're going to take a quick break here. When we return, Next up, it's El Presidente joining us. David Portnoy of Barstool Sports joining us on set when we come back.
Grade 1 winner Data Link by world-renowned sire Warfront. Data Link scored in the prestigious Grade 1 Makers 46 Mile at Keeneland. Then set a new course record in the Grade 2 Monmouth Stakes. With a pedigree free of Mr. Prospector in the first 4 generations, Data Link is the perfect outcross option. His first weanlings turned heads, selling well above the stud fee. Data Link at Claiborne Farm.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
You're watching Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2 and MSG Plus. Thanks for being with us here on Whitney Day. The Saratoga Showdown online contest continues to happen. If you've never been really introduced to racing or playing the races, great way to get involved without risking any of your own money. A mythical bankroll, and you can win some fantastic prizes, including a 2018 Belmont Stakes prize package valued at $2,000. Go to SaratogaShowdown.com or Nyra.com to get involved and get started up and signed up and play along. We got the 4th race coming up. Shauk in here, the 8-horse campaign by Donegal Racing, who could have a big say as well later today in the Whitney. Jerry Crawford standing by with our own Gabby Gaudet.
Thanks, Greg. And Jerry, we were just talking about it. It was a little crowded. You were having a tough time getting from the paddock to the box seats here. How does it feel? How does the Donegal camp feel here on Whitney Day?
Just had a little bit of a tingle as you were talking about that. Donegal has been treated very well on special days here at Saratoga, going back to the Travers of a couple of years ago. Today we contest the Whitney. We couldn't be prouder of Keen Ice. But I have to tell you, right now I'm tingling about Shauk in this next race. So there's nothing quite like a maiden race first-time starter at Saratoga. This is as good as it gets, and you get to measure what you think is a good horse against the best in the world.
Absolutely. And talking about Shauk as well, he debuts going a distance of ground on the turf. How do you think that this track, or was that the intention all along, getting to the turf and going long?
Exactly. He's certainly bred to go long. We pretty much just buy horses that are bred to go long. We're thrilled with Nyra's initiative with the Stamina Series they're doing on the grass and the way they're expanding that. Couldn't be happier with that decision by Nyra. But he's going to like the distance. Does he need a race? Well, most of them do before they can show you their best, but fingers crossed.
Jerry, well, best of luck here, and of course, best of luck later on with Keen Ice.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, Greg.
Yeah, it's going to be a real intriguing showdown. Of course, Keen Ice, full Donegal Racing coming off that suburban upset over Shaman Ghost, but there's a look at their first-time starter. As much as Saratoga is about these big races and superstars, it really is about these newcomers as well, and that's what we have in this 4th race coming up. Polly, the Fort Napawa in here, for trainer Mark Cassie, Javier Castellano aboard. That's a horse who was 8-1 on the board. What'd you think about his chances?
Well, I like this horse a little bit. The intriguing part is the works at Keeneland, then they took this horse to Churchill Downs. You see the gap between the works, and I'm wondering, this is one of the few places where you can work 2-year-olds over the turf course. And the work in between was very good over a deep track on the 26. I think this horse can be fit and ready to go.
Yeah, the damn Nigon's touch. She didn't race very long, but she was 3 for 5 in her career, a stakes winner at Woodbine, although she was 0 for 1 on the turf. With more on this field, let's go back to Maggie.
Ward trainee. That's number 3, Monteleone, who was a bit green in the paddock, a bit green coming out here. Jose Ortiz has actually kept him away from the pony. He has his feet out of the irons as of now, and that's something that a jock will do to try to keep a horse calm. Now, I wouldn't be surprised, he is out of the Wesley Ward barn as well, if he does show a little bit of speed. Not taking much money for a Ward first-time starter, but physically, he does look the part here, guys.
Well, that's good to see. Jose Ortiz doing what needs to be done to settle this one down. That's the horse we saw act up a little bit. The Fasig-tipped Saratoga Select Yearling grad, and that one on the board at double digits at 11-1 right now for Wesley Ward.
Yeah, Wesley been a little bit cold, 2 for 18 at this meet. The horse today does debut with Lasix, and when they come in from Keeneland, they're tough.
The favorite, Eclipsed Moon, one of a couple with experience in the race. That's the 6 for Kenny McPeak. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of the Triple Crown. For the call, Larry Colmus.
Strong Current will be the next one to move into the starting gate here. And here is Eclipsed Moon, who is 5-2. Maintains favoritism here. Survey moving into line. 1 left to load will be He Takes Charge, who will take up position in the outside stall. Here's He Takes Charge and Manny Franco moving into the starting gate. They're all in line. We're ready for the start. They're off. Trumpy on the inside broke well. There goes Survey from the far outside, and Monteleone is up and on the pace as well. In between horses comes Strong Current, and then right behind them it's Eclipsed Moon as the field makes their way into that turn. It will be Trumpy to lead the way. On top by almost 2. Monteleone on the outside second. Strong Current tracks in third. Survey is fourth on the outside. And then Nipawa followed by Eclipsed Moon. Shoke in behind them. And then sidewinding to the outside, followed by Irish Territory, who's down toward the inside, second last up the backstretch, and leading only He Takes Charge through a 23.59 quarter. So it is Trumpy on top by a length up the backstretch. Monteleone is second. Then comes Strong Current. Survey fourth on the outside. Behind the leaders comes Nipawa in fifth. Now 5.5 from the front. Then Eclipsed Moon on the outside. Shoke has the rails, 6 lengths off the lead. Sidewinder is next. Irish Territory on the inside, and He Takes Charge is only 8 lengths behind at the rear of the field. 48.39 was the half mile. Around the far turn, and it is still Trumpy in charge. On top a half a length, Monteleone on the outside second. Survey's going to come 3 wide for the stretch drive. Strong Current cuts the corner in fourth. Farther out, Eclipsed Moon is fifth, and way on the outside, starting to unwind a sidewinder down the center of the course. Furlong to run. It is still Trumpy with a 2-length lead here. And then Strong Current followed by Nipawa. Down toward the inside, Shoke is coming on late. Trumpy to catch. On the outside, Nipawa. Shoke closing between horses, but they never got Trumpy. Shoke was second, and then came Nipawa, followed by Strong Current in 1 minute 42.13 seconds.
22-1 all the way on the front end. It's Trumpy and Junior Alvarado.
Yeah, Junior Alvarado put him on the lead and did what he had to do. The dam herself was actually a 4-time winner in the turf, but she had produced 2 horses to try the turf that did no running. This one was ready to go today, and a fast final time, Tom. These turf courses, they're in good shape.
Ran to the mom's side of the pedigree. She's not only a winner on the turf, but she's a stakes winner as well, this horse's mom. Look, I think this race, a lot had to do with this horse controlling things on the front end, as well as maybe some suspicious turf breeding amongst the rest of this field. I don't think this was necessarily a good turf group, but the winner, Trumpy, the 2 horse, got over the ground very, very well.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, you know, the 4 was trying to grind away. I'm sort of with with Tom a little bit. He was trying to grind away. Because I was paying attention to the horse. When you pick a horse, you bet a horse, you sort of pay attention. And, you know, she sort of had that grinding style. And when the other horse sort of came up to the outside of her, I thought the other horse took off, and that was being the 8. So maybe the 8 was a little bit better. You can see he's getting a little bit green behind horses, but no doubt about it, Trumpy just sort of ran them off their feet.
Big performance. Tom mentioned the Damn Happiness Is stakes winner on the grass, also graded stakes place in her career as well, but this is her first full to win on the turf.
Yeah, and a good job of training. And Junior Alvarado, to me, one of the most underrated riders on the turf course here, gets the job done by taking the initiative.
Yeah, he's too good a rider to be as quiet as he has been as well. So he gets on the board here at Saratoga. 2, 8, 4, 5, and some early fireworks here on Whitney Day with this 22-to-1 shot. Let's go to Maggie.
Okay. Here with Junior Alvarado, setting the pace on the front end, Junior. Did this horse just give you the feeling that he was going to be that sharp, or he just broke and went?
You know, like when I was warming up, you know, he felt pretty sharp. You know, every time a horse was going to go by in the warming up, you know, he felt like a quick horse, you know. Then, you know, he was standing very good at the gate. And when he broke, you know, I knew he wanted to
He's coming on the show.
Right there up front, you know. I let him go the first part. Then he took the lead, and, I mean, he took me all the way around pretty nice.
I was going to say, down the lane, he kind of lowered himself and accelerated. That's a good sign of a nice horse.
Yeah. He did everything you wanted, and a good horse, you know, and he showed it today, you know, as a first timer, you know. We know Billy Moore never had him cranking up all the way for first timer, but I mean, he showed a lot of class, you know. He did everything I wanted to, and like you said, I mean, when I asked him the 316 to go, I mean, he just lowered his head and, you know, give me a nice run at the end.
Junior, job well done. Nice to see you getting the wins here at Saratoga.
Thanks, Maggie.
Greg, I think the last horse we may have seen Bill Mott fire on the first time out on the turf. Good Samaritan?
Yeah, first time on the grass. Are we going to see this one maybe come back as a 3-year-old and contest the Jim Dandy?
I mean, it's a nice effort. You know what? You can't undersell Dynaformer as a sire, as a broodmare sire. The distance and the turf that he brings, the son of Roberto. And there is the Hall of Famer. He's just a few days removed from when Good Samaritan won on his birthday.
Started from the bottom, now he's here. David Portnoy's built Barstool into an empire. He joins us next.
Change the way you watch racing forever with the new Naira Now app. Live racing in English or Spanish. From a variety of camera angles, race replays, talking horses, race analysis, and a multitude of on-demand content, all in high definition. Naira Now is available on many platforms, including iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and more coming soon. Download Naira Now today, free in the App Store, and start watching the best racing like never before.
Back on Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2, and Bill Mott with a first-time starter here, 2-year-old who might have a bright future here, winning on the turf, gate to wire, Paul.
He's having a monster meet so far. You look at his runners, 12 out of 25 are in the money, and obviously the big win in the Jim Danny with Good Samaritan, and Trumpy wires him today at a big price.
And Choke running well for Donegal as well, but this story all about Trumpy. Let's go downstairs to Gabby for more.
Thanks, Greg. And Bill, Trumpy with the victory here today. Were you expecting this horse to show that much speed out of the gate initially?
I really didn't. I didn't think he would show quite that much speed. I was a little bit surprised. I had 2 horses in the race. Both had been working very well. And, you know, frankly, I wasn't sure. I wasn't so sure the other one wasn't the better horse going into the race. But, you know, when they line a full field up, sometimes the gate opens, different things happen.
Exactly, and he was 22-1 in here, but he was all pro coming down the stretch. Really, really professional how he dug back in there.
Yeah, he'd worked well. We'd worked him on the grass here a couple times. He worked very well, and so, you know, he was overlooked a little bit.
Quick thoughts on McKagan later in the lure. It looks like some of the speed is scratched out of there today, so it might help him.
Well, I've got to go relook at it. It's a tough race. I mean, they always come up tough here in Saratoga. I'll look at it with the scratches in there, but he's a horse that can lay up close to the pace.
All right, well, congratulations and best of luck later, Bill.
Thank you.
All right, Trumpy triumphant here in the 4th.
Gabby, thank you very much. So Bill Mott in the winner's circle here on Whitney Day as we move along. Race 5 coming up. That'll be over the turf, and still to come later on in the day. The Naira Bets late pick 5. They've increased the daily single winning ticket payout to $150,000. It's Whitney Day, so today's a Saturday. Every Saturday, that is $300,000. You must play it through Naira Bets, though, to take advantage of that. And the only way to play it outside the state of New York is to get signed up and started with Naira Bets. Time for What's Trending. And what's trending here at Saratoga? How about this? Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports going on Saratoga Live after the 4th to drop the knowledge on Paul LaDuca's head. You can watch, of course, on Fox Sports 2. We expect him to bring it. El Presidente here joining us, the founder of Barstool Sports. Started from the very, very bottom, handing out flyers, and now you've built a media empire. Thanks for coming on the set. We love having you here.
It's good.
Did you ever expect it to become what it's become today?
No, definitely not. I mean, how could you? So lucky a lot of breaks. Like, how could you expect to be a Major League Baseball player? Same type deal.
Well, you claim that you were better than Delano DeShields. We know about that. Yeah, faster hands. But I want to know and tell everybody how you got into horse racing, because you really started like later in your life started liking horse racing.
No,
you
that's
liked
not
it,
true. That's inaccurate, Paul.
But you fired at more other things than horses.
No, I always did horses. My dad used to take me to Rockham Park as a kid.
Okay.
So I was going 9, 10 years old. And then we always came up here. This was a father-son trip that we did all throughout high school, through college. And now I bring them back.
Yeah, you do. I do every year.
My parents were here earlier in the week. My mom fell down twice. Shout out to my mom.
Was she okay?
Yeah, she was all right. A little embarrassed.
I heard you have a story about DeHare, too, where you won some big money here.
We did win DeHare. DeHare made, I forget what year it is, he made one of the all-time great. By the way, I hate the picture they're using of my face there. We got to get a new screenshot.
We'll switch that out.
No, they apologize. That's on our fault. He made one of the all-time moves in the history. Do you know the horse, DeHare?
Yeah, of course.
He was named after Terry DeHare, the Seton Hall basketball player. So don't say it just got into this game, Paul. That's a long time ago if we look up.
Then why do you ask me for picks all the time?
I get as much information. That's what you do. You sift through information.
Okay.
You sift through information. My guy here, Paul, just hit that 22 to my buddy.
He had a lollipop to win on him. He can get Shake Shack. That's about it.
$10. Why even come to the track if you're gonna do $10?
And so obviously, I mean, look, you've owned horses. You've been in around this game for a long time. You actually went to a Breeders' Cup too with Wes Welker. I want to hear what that was like.
That was great. He's a horse owner, so that was my first Breeders' Cup. I've gone every year since. He's somebody who takes like 50 minutes at the window. Do you remember Kentucky Derby too? He thought he got like screwed out of money. He had that big confrontation.
Yeah.
We have a new audience joining us. Don't go anywhere. We're sticking around here with Dave Portnoy, Barstool Sports. They join us right now. Welcome to those joining us here on Altitude Network. Great to have you with us. It is Whitney Day. Also, the test coming up later on this afternoon. We're going to have the 5th running of the Lure coming up a little bit later on. Greg Wolf, former New York Met, Paul LaDuca, and the founder of Barstool Sports, El Presidente, Dave Portnoy, with us. Talking, we're going to drop some handicapping knowledge on this guy. You say you usually give picks, but we're going to ask Dave for some picks here coming up.
For a lot of people don't know, he is on my email list. Now, whether he looks at it or not, knowing Dave, I know he doesn't even glance at it because he doesn't even glance at my text. So, knowing that, I did pick a horse in this race, and I want to hear your opinion because I know you want to handicap this race.
Yeah, and I don't bet favorites. I don't come here. I don't get here enough to be betting favorites.
Which your range is 9-2 to 15-1. You'll bet a 20-1 shot too.
I absolutely will. So I mean, I like the 5. How can you not like the 5? But wait, even money right now.
Even money, yeah.
So I'm not going to touch that horse. I actually like the 6, Toughest Hombre. It's his 3rd race as a 4-year-old. And by the way, I get all my information. I got a guy at home, Elio, who's one of my good buddies, owns a pizza shop, sits in the basement, just handicaps all day. So I call him up. He's pretty sharp. So he's helped me with this one. But I do like the 6. He was entered in a lot of big races early in his career. He hasn't broke great in the last one, but he's competitive in the Belmont Derby, and look at the races. So, for a price, 3rd race as a 4-year-old, that's where I'd land.
You prepared for this. I like the handicapping.
I'm not going to come up and be an idiot.
You're a New Englander, of course, and I know you had to move, with all your success, you had to move to New York. Your office is there. I've heard you're not a big New Yorker. You don't love it there yet.
Guy.
But in terms of Saratoga, you must love it here, right?
Saratoga is one of my favorite places on earth. It literally, here or Nantucket in the summer. That's the only 2 places I'd like to be.
What makes it so great that you love it here so much at Saratoga?
Well, it's a horse town. It has everything. I actually had my bachelor party here, believe it or not. Yeah. So it has the day. I mean, I love gambling, so sitting here and just betting all day is like the perfect thing. Go regroup for, an hour, and then the nightlife's perfect. So it has a little bit of everything. I mean, if you like betting, I don't know how you can't like it. And I love horses.
We got to get your Whitney pick before we let you go. Obviously, Gunrunner is going to be a heavy, heavy favorite in that race.
Yeah.
But we saw what happened to the Jim Dandy here the other week. Derby and Preakness winner, not able to get it done. What are your thoughts on the Whitney?
I like 2 Brutus. We go to qualify. I'm not taking the favorites, and I wouldn't take Keen Ice either. What's he? He has, I think, the highest buyer figure in the field.
Yeah, I see where you're going.
And he scratched out a race earlier this week to run in this. So to me, that's like something's noodling around in their brain that they think he can compete. It'll be a big price, too. Everyone gave me the stink eye when I said that last night. You did. I said 2 Brutus. You looked at me like I had 10 heads.
Let's not forget, too, Gary Contessa had a winner in the nightcap yesterday, so maybe a little good mojo coming into today.
If 2 Brutus wins, I'll pay for your next flight to Nantucket.
That's not exactly
El Presidente of Barstool Sports. You can go to barstoolsports.com.
By the way, thanks for doing the pizza review, and I know you're doing one here, right?
We may do one. I wanted to be on the Jumbotron, and that got nixed.
Happens. Hey, listen, I don't have that much pull.
No, you don't.
Well, these 2 guys, they reviewed Nove at Saratoga. Thumbs up for Nove?
Yeah, it was very good.
Okay.
Very good.
Thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
And enjoy the mess. You going to be in for the whole meet?
I wish.
Thanks for coming on. Whitney picked 2 Brutus.
I like it.
Heard it here
from
first.
Dave Portnoy. It's Whitney Day here at Saratoga. We're going to take a quick break in the action. Stick around. Plenty more to come. Bricks and Mortar, best of the Manila rematch. Undefeated for Chad Brown. We'll talk about it when we come back.
And they're off to New York, the premier state-bred program in the United States. When you own a New York bred, your horse can run for more than $44 million in purses, restricted to registered New York breds. And the New York program pays awards to breeders, owners, and stallion owners when their New York breds finish first, second, or third at New York tracks. We have the quality.
Coda, they won't catch Monin. Monin wins the February Stakes.
You have the opportunity. New York breds, get with the program. The best program.
And they're off. NyraBet's Pick 5 is now available exclusively online at nyrabets.com. Bet the NyraBet's Pick 5 every race day with a 15% takeout on the last 5 races on the card from the country's best racing at Belmont and Saratoga. Find it nationwide on nyrabets.com right in the Bet Type drop-down menu or at any Nyra track or New York OTB location. NyraBet's Pick 5, racing's best bet.
Back here on Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2. New York Racing Association continues to lead the way with its Spanish language content. Luis Grandison provides pre-race analysis and calls of every race available on the NYRA Now app and all in HD. Here's Luis with Paula Queen's shocker in last year's test at 55-1.
El comando lo mantiene, abre traga, mantiene el comando por cuerpo y medio. El segundo lugar lo está tratando de responder ahí el ejemplar Lewis Bay y por el medio viene avanzando bastante fuerte. Ahí viene avanzando Lightstream, viene avanzando Raudo por el medio y por fuera. Paula Queen viene avanzando por fuera. Paula Queen 55-1 acaba de sorprender con Luis Sáez.
Oh, that was a win for Gustavo Delgado, his first ever Grade 1. He said, "I'm a grown man and I cry." He was crying after that huge upset here at Saratoga. Today, if you hit the trifecta on your mobile device in the test stakes, you can earn a 10% winner's bonus. NYRA Bets offers this trifecta winner's bonus on a Saratoga Stakes race every single day. You can see the full list at nyrabets.com. Up next, we're 14 minutes to post in race 5. It is a mile over the inner turf, an allowance optional claiming field, and that is the group that will be going postward. Delta Prince for trainer Jimmy Jerkins. Right now a heavy 6-5 favorite, dropping out of the Grade 3 Appleton, and then with that drop in class, Andy, right now squarely the horse to beat.
Delta Prince is the horse to beat, Greg. I completely agree with you. One thing that worries me a little bit, and you know, when you're dealing with favorites, you ask yourself not why they're likely to win, why they might lose, Tom. The turf was extremely firm down at Gulfstream Park, and while we saw good times so far, the turf's in good shape. After a little bit of rain, Tom, it's not quite as firm, and coming off a layoff, maybe that'll be a little bit of a chink in his armor.
Yeah, so we're on the inner today in this race, Andy. We've seen a couple on the Widener, and in that particular races, the ground shows a cut to it, which is good for horses that like a little softer going. Look, Delta Prince is a horse that likes to hear his feet rattle, take advantage of it, make the lead on a group, and extend that margin to the finish line.
A confusing race for me because All Included was much the best, completely circled that field, and then came back and just ran a clunker in the Red Bank. So I really don't know what to do. I think it's a bad play at 6-5. If you're liking this horse, I think you have to take 9-5 to even 5-2 what the morning line is.
I'm trying to beat him with a 3 Altar Boy in this race. We were just taking a look at Altar Boy. Altar Boy, if you forget about his last race, it was a dirt race. He actually almost won 1.5 miles, which is pretty far, and I thought he could have won with a better trip. But it's actually a 7-furlong race that I like. And I think Mike Maker, who scratched him out of a long-distance race here earlier at the meet, prefers a short distance. In that 7-furlong race on May 7th, he got left like 3 lengths that day, rushed up getting attention, got blocked until mid-stretch. I think he makes a lot of sense as an alternative.
He's done a lot of different things lately, right? Long, short, dirt, grass. He's got to find his niche, and I think this could be it in this spot. It makes his form look spotty. He's done so many different things, but this race at a mile, I think that's what he wants.
Why don't we head out to Maggie and get more?
Check in with your current favorite. That's number 5 in here, Delta Prince. And he is off a little bit of a layoff here coming out of that Appleton. And, you know, the last time I had seen him was when he was debuting late as a 3-year-old. And, boy, he's really grown and blossomed now as a 4-year-old. He looks formidable here. I'm not going to lie. I can't find any chinks in his armor from the physical sense here. As Andy said, we'll see if the turf course makes any kind of difference. Now, number 1 is Mighty Mo, and he is second off of a layoff. And to me, he's sharper, he's fitter, he's stronger than what he was in that last race on July 8th. It just seemed as though Bill Mott may have needed to get that race into him, and he's back to the old Mighty Mo that we saw of yesteryear. So I think we'll see a better showing from him second off the bench. And then another one coming off of a layoff, it's going to be a bigger price, and that's number 8, Strike Midnight. When you talk about Delta Prince liking the Gulfstream turf, I'm apt to say, and talking to Leah Giramati, Strike Midnight's trainer, he didn't appreciate the Gulfstream course. Furthermore, she said he danced every dance last year and he just needed a break. Looks as though he's refreshed and he is keen here in the paddock. Physically, he looks very fit. I mean, Leah's not one of those trainers who really kind of cranks her horses up, but I can't say that he doesn't look fit here overall. And as he always is, he's certainly on the muscle here, Andy.
What happens this race? It's an interesting race. It's not like the 5 has to win. This is a big field, a lot going on. The mile turf races here can be tricky. Paul, I know you're interested in the 11 Mutazen. He's cutting back a little bit in distance.
Well, he's not getting bet, all right? He's coming back, cutting back the distance from 1 1/8. That race came out okay. You know, 3 horses came out of the race to win. Don Julio, he ran a 94 Buyer, and a couple others revved up in hockey school. There's not a lot of pace in here, and I'm hoping that the 1 Mighty Mo can be his target. I actually think this horse wants a target. If you go back 3 starts ago, 4 starts ago, he sat behind a weak pace setter and went by. Hopefully that he can sit behind the 1 and be able to take advantage, but he's dead at the window.
Well, so what? You like him, he's 20 to 1. You bet him. You don't worry about what price they are. Actually, he's 8 to 1, excuse me. In this race, Tom, they kind of sped it up in front and the race fell apart late. I thought he did very well to hold third. The other speeds were nowhere at the finish, and one of them came back to win.
Perhaps a little compromise in the first quarter of a mile, Andy. He made the lead on this group, and then all of a sudden a horse decided to challenge him down the backside, took him a bit out of his game, had to use some energy to get clear of that horse. I think it cost him in the finish in this race.
Yeah, I do. I do want to mention the one that Maggie mentioned. Mighty Mo last time, for whatever reason, they decided to rate him, and they took him out in the middle of the track. That was a day we've talked about where the rails came down, and you needed to be on the inside part of the inner turf course. He was nowhere near it. When he's been allowed to run on the front end, he's a much different horse, and I have to think the rail, Paco Lopez is going.
Send.
Yeah, well, I mean, Paco, that may be his style, but does he have the speed to do that? We're talking about, you know, some horse that's going 25 for the opening quarters. They're quick horses in this race.
He'll be in front.
He does look like the speed of the speed. Here he is, Mighty Mo, a 2014 Fasig-Tipton Saratoga Select Yearling graduate trained by Bill Mott with Paco Lopez.
I think he's an interesting horse we just talked about. Hopefully they're aggressive with him. We'll see if he's fast enough.
Graham Motion sends out Alphonsus. Second start in the States, I should say, with Javier Castellano.
It was impressive last time. Broke slow, weaved in and out, and won. But who did he beat last time? He's got to step up his game a little more.
Ultra Boy is the 3. Jose Ortiz aboard for Mike Maker.
My top selection. I'm hoping he's found the right distance, and I know Jose Ortiz knows how to work out a good trip.
Knight's Key, 32 to 1, huge long shot. Florent Giroux aboard for Ron Moquette.
Yeah, off a win on the turf at Churchill Downs, but that was a claiming 40 race. This is against a little bit tougher.
Here's the favorite, Delta Prince for Stronach Stables, trained by Jimmy Jerkins with John Velasquez.
He's a talented runner. He has tactical speed. He's the horse to beat, coming off a bit of a freshening, but it's a talented field, and he's overbet at 6 to 5.
Third off the layoff today for Toughest Ombre for trainer Tom Albertrani. Manny Franco aboard.
It could be a live long shot. This is a horse that causes his own issues. He needs to get out of his own way.
Here's What a Wonderful World for Mark Cassie. It's Joel Rosario in the irons.
Third off the layoff has run well, 2 straight starts.
Strike Midnight, the 8 for Leah Gerimati with Rajiv Mirage.
I thought a long shot in here. He finally gets from the outside slot, gets a regular post position, second time blinkers.
Big step up here for Derby Champagne, trained by Rusty Arnold with Chris DiCarlo.
He's a big price for a reason. This is an acid test.
Vulcan's Forge, Todd Pletcher training with Luis Saez.
Well, the blinkers helped him to go on the dirt. Will they help him with his turf form where he's 1 for 6?
And will Mutazen challenge the 1 Mighty Mo on the front end? Junior Alvarado aboard for Kieran McLaughlin.
He does figure to be forwardly placed. Paul likes him more than I do, but I can see reasons you could bet this horse.
Wicked Freud, the 12. He's won on this turf course. He's trained by Jimmy Ryerson with Kendrick Carmouche.
He's an honest horse, Greg. 4 wins from 3 seconds, and he does have a win over the Saratoga Strip.
That is your field for race 5 here. Mile on the inner turf. Andy, how do you play it?
I'm going to keep it simple for the show. I'm going to bet the 3 to win. $20 winning the 3 is a square price. Playing exactas, I would box 1, 3, 5. Try to get the 1 and 3 in there with the favorite.
Well, my bet's going to be the 12, but the 11. And I understand where you're going with the 1, Andy. I'm with you. I think the 1 goes to the front. Paco pushes the button because that's the only way I think that horse wins this race. Because I'm almost hoping that the 11 sits that 2-hole trip.
8 to 1 on Mutazen, the 11, and 10 to 1 on Ultra Boy for the 2 picks from Paul and Andy, respectively. We have the 5th coming up from Saratoga on Whitney Day. We're going to take a break in the action. Gunrunner has had the lead all to himself each of his last 3 wins. If he's challenged today, what will happen? We'll be back.
Selected sales, superior results. Success starts at Saratoga, the #1 ranked yearling sale in North America.
Eclipse Award-winning Songbird was bought at Saratoga, Fasig-Tipton. Where will you be this August?
Eclipse champion Stellar Wind is a Fasig-Tipton Saratoga grad. Where will you be this August?
The Fasig-Tipton Saratoga sale, August 7th and 8th. Where will you be?
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
You're watching Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2. It is Whitney Day, always packed for one of the special days of this premier meet in all the country. You can play along from home as you watch with us here by getting signed up and started with NyraBets. If you bet 200, you get 200 put in your account by using the promo code PICK5. Get signed up and started with NyraBets. It's available nationwide, so take advantage. Again, use that promo code PICK5 to get $200 in your account. Coming up, it is the 5th. Alphonsus the 2, his state's debut. He was a winner for trainer Graham Motion at Delaware Park. Graham Motion standing by with Gabby right now.
Graham, first time in North America, Alphonsus got the victory. What were your thoughts on his last race and how he's coming into this race? Obviously, a little bit of a deeper field.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big step up today. I'm glad to have Javier. He beat a much weaker group at Delaware, but he did it very nicely.
He was a horse last time out in his North American debut that didn't get off to a great start. Do you see that be common with North American debuters?
Yeah, I mean, 9 out of 10 of my European horses, it doesn't matter how many times we take them to the gate in the morning, they still break a step slow. It's just so different over here.
Do you think he will get out a little bit better, maybe sit a closer chip than he was last time out?
I hope so. You know, usually having had that one race experience, it really helps. So let's hope so.
All right, and you send out Ring Weekend later today in the lure. How's he coming in? Always a fan favorite.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing great. This is a tough race today. I mean, I've been pointing him for this race for at least 7 or 8 weeks, and I felt very good about running him, but it's a very competitive group.
But he loves Saratoga.
Yeah, he does. I mean, look, he won the group race up here last year, so I'm excited about running him.
We're excited to see him as well. Best of luck here, Graham.
Thanks, Gabby.
All right, Greg.
Gabby, thank you. So right now, 6-1. Graham's runner actually is taking some play in this race from that 10-1 morning line. There's a look at the son of Invincible Spirit. Second starts here in the States. Meanwhile, with more on a horse who actually broke his maiden on the grass, but then they tried him on dirt. It's back to turf, Maggie, for Vulcan's Forge.
Off of a layoff here, Greg. Vulcan's Forge sits at 28-1 for Todd Pletcher. And Vulcan's Forge, to me, looks like a horse who's fit, who's ready for this return to the races. And I love the warm-up that he got under Luis Saez. He went away from the pony, and he just bounced and floated over this track. And usually when a horse kind of has that bounce to his step, now look, this guy's won on both surfaces. But to me, that springier stride does suggest turf. I like him getting back to the surface. I know he ran a better race on the dirt a couple starts ago, but I'm very intrigued by this long shot, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. And he certainly is a long shot, 29-1. We heard Gabby talking with Graham Motion, the trainer of the 2, Alphonsus, and we just saw rider Javier Castellano off his mount moments ago. There he is. You see him running back to his horse here, who did not get away, thankfully. Great job by the outrider to keep up with him. And it looks like Javier will just hop back aboard here. But never a great sign, guys, when you see a jockey not with his horse here as they get set to load.
Yeah, but, this is a European-bred horse. They have minds of their own. They do a lot of things wrong pre-race, sometimes in the paddock, sometimes on the track, and it never seems to bother them in their race.
He basically, well, not dwelt. He leaned on the gate when you watched the head-on, and he did break about 4 steps slow last time.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see, and Graham sort of talked about that with Gabby, and hopefully, obviously, he breaks better with more experience, but it's such a different thing break from the gate here. He's going to have to step it up, but Graham Motion is having a great meet, Greg.
Yeah, he truly is, and we'll see. The break with the 2, certainly something to keep your eyes on after he did not break cleanly in his States debut. Delta Prince, the 5-horse, however, for Jimmy Jerkins, now an odds-on 4-5 favorite. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York racing, Larry Colmus with the call.
Toughest Hombre coming up to the gate next will be followed by Vulcan's Forge. Waiting for Mutazen and Wicked Freud. Mutazen and Junior Alvarado go into the starting gate. Here's Wicked Freud and Kendra Carmouche. Delta Prince maintaining that 4-5 favorite role here. They're all in line. They're off. Mighty Mo goes out to the early lead. Mutazen is sent along too, so these 2 are out to the front with Wicked Freud away running in third. Delta Prince gets a cozy early spot, 4th on the inside, 3 lengths off the lead moving into that first turn. After that comes Toughest Hombre, who follows in 5th. And then it's back to Derby Champagne, who's next on the outside. A good 7 lengths off the lead. Alphonsus is next. And then back to Vulcan's Forge. What a Wonderful World, Strike Midnight, and the trailers are Altar Boy and Knight's Key. 23.84 was the opening quarter for Mighty Mo and Paco Lopez, who lead them up the backstretch. Mutazen is kept close, running in second by 2. Delta Prince tracks them from third. And they're followed by Toughest Hombre, Wicked Freud 5th, 5 from the front. Then Derby Champagne, Alphonsus to the inside, followed by What a Wonderful World, Vulcan's Forge, Strike Midnight, Altar Boy, and Knight's Key at the back of the pack. 47.33 the half mile for Mighty Mo, who heads them into the turn. Mutazen keeps the pressure on. Now the margin is down to a neck. John Velasquez brings the favorite Delta Prince to the outside of the pace-setting pair, and the 3 of them are right together, and Toughest Hombre is behind them, cutting the corner in 4th. They're into the stretch. Mutazen, Delta Prince on the outside. Mighty Mo keeps on battling at the fence. Toughest Hombre is 4th. And then comes What a Wonderful World in Derby Champagne, but it's Delta Prince. Delta Prince is pulling away in the final 16th. And Delta Prince is going to go on and win here. The race is going to be for second, and it may have been Derby Champagne in a photo with Mutazen, then Toughest Hombre.
Delta Prince was...
Well, the pace set up exactly like we thought, but in the end, Delta Prince just too good here on the class drop for Jimmy Jerkins.
He was too good. We were talking on set before the race, and all sort of agreed 4-5 seemed like too short a price. He got the perfect trip we expected, guys. He was an hour the best.
Yeah, he was an hour the best. You can see him striding out right here, and he's lowering his head, and he's getting the job done. Levin's fighting all he can to hold second, but he's just no match to the son of Street Cry.
Yeah, look, perfect spot against a quick pace, a challenge pace between the 1-horse Mighty Mo and the 11-horse Mutazen. And that's the deal. Tactical speed can be so good on the turf. You avoid trouble, and you can put your horse where you want. John Velasquez put Delta Prince behind the 2 pace setters, battling it out, waited for them to falter, moved around, took over.
And guys, I believe it was very tight. I think a 49-1 shot may have got second here.
It seems like Derby Champagne might have caught Paul's horse for second. We were all down here screaming wire, hoping the 11 could at least hold for second for Paul. It was close, but it looks like the long shot nailed him. Tough beat, Paul.
Yeah, there's been a couple horses, by the way, that Chris DiCarlo, and when Chris is healthy, battled injuries through his career, he had another long shot that ran yesterday at about 80-1, ran 4th. Start looking for him on the turf. He's a very good turf rider, and you're going to see right here Derby Champagne going to round out this exacta on the outside. As you can see Mutazen, he does this a lot. He's getting tired, and he's on his wrong lead.
Well, the only defeat for Delta Prince since switching to the grass narrowly in the Grade 3 Appleton. And by the way, it is that long shot, Derby Champagne at 49-1, who does win that photo for second. Delta Prince, though, your winner. Let's go to Maggie.
And Greg here with winning rider Johnny V. And Johnny, Delta Prince, a horse, well, he's regally bred, and he's certainly found a home here on the turf.
He does. He does like the turf very much. I rode it in Florida. I remember him very well. Set up perfect today. You know, 2 speed horses set up from the 2 horses in front of me. And when I asked him down the quarter pole, he responded right away.
He seems to be a very tactical horse. Do you feel as though that this mile distance is just the optimal distance for him?
I don't know. I think he can go a little farther if he. We have to try them. I mean, he settles really well. It's not a horse that's very rank at all. So I don't see why not he should go a little bit longer.
Cool. All right. Well, congratulations here with Delta Prince.
Thanks.
All right, Greg.
Maggie, thanks. I think we're going to see Delta Prince getting back into Graded Stakes company with a performance like this. He was impressive this afternoon. He's won 3 of his last 4, and the rest of this field, no match for this son of Street Cry. 5th in the books coming up. The Hall of Fame induction ceremony was Friday. We'll show you all what happened, including the Pillars of the Turf category, when we come back.
Undefeated in sprint competition, Eclipse champion Run Happy captured 3 Grade 1 victories and set blistering speed records at both Keeneland and Saratoga. In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, he dominated the world's fastest runners, going 6 furlongs in a record-breaking 108 and change. The only horse nominated for 3 Eclipse Awards, Run Happy was crowned champion male sprinter, all the while racing 100% drug-free. Champion, millionaire, record breaker, Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Change the way you watch racing forever with the new NYRA Now app. Live racing in English or Spanish from a variety of camera angles, race replays, talking horses, race analysis, and a multitude of on-demand content, all in high definition. NYRA Now is available on many platforms, including iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and more coming soon. Download NYRA Now today, free in the App Store, and start watching the best racing like never before.
Multiple Grade 1 winner First Samurai by Giants Causeway got off to a quick start at stud, siring Grade 1 winners in each of his first 3 crops. His talented son Lee captured the Grade 1 Don Handicap in record time and retired to stud with over $2.3 million in earnings. Sovereign Award nominee Stack Deck captured the Grade 3 Bold Venture Stakes and Grade 2 Kennedy Road Stakes, both just to tick off track record times. First Samurai at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Saratoga Live, it was Delta Prince in the 5th. He'd reeled off back-to-back victories since he debuted on the grass. They put him in Grade 3 company. He narrowly missed in the Grade 3 Appleton. And it looks like after this type of performance, I expect to see, we're going to see Delta Prince back against graded stakes competition real soon. Gabby standing by with his trainer.
Well, we'll find out just momentarily, Greg, but standing here with Jimmy Jerkins and a pretty impressive performance today by Delta Prince. Jimmy, this is a horse who really has success wherever he's placed. What did you think about his race today?
It was just what we were looking for, kind of. You know, we came back from Florida. We had a few problems with him. We had to stop on him and just crank him back up again. And hope he'll have a little longer string of races this time.
And he's a horse that's primarily been at the mile. Do you think he's a horse that can stretch out a little bit?
I think within reason. I think, well, he's certainly bred to Street Cry and on the dam side. If he could. Sure, I can picture him galloping in front of the horses, going further than today. Sure.
Could we see him back in graded stakes company in the near future?
Possibly. Maybe we'll see what's up when we get back to Belmont. But you know, at least I was just happy to get him going again.
All right, it's Whitney Day. I have to ask you, we were talking about it before we came on air. Were you here and where were you? Or I know you were here, but where were you and what was the situation like when Onion beat Secretariat?
I remember like it was yesterday. It was I watched it on the backstretch with I think my brother Steve and my twin sister Julie at about the 3/4 pole. Where the morning line stand is now, it was a tiny little fruit stand in those days. And I remember there was an old couple had it, and they had that old black and white TV hooked up somehow. I don't know how they. And we watched the break from there, and then ran to the back rail to watch the rest of it. And it was incredible. I remember it like it was yesterday.
An amazing memory for sure. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, Greg.
Thanks, Gabby. That, of course, was Jimmy Jerkins' father, Alan Jerkins, the Chief, one of the great upsets in horse racing history when Onion defeated Secretariat in the 46th running of the Whitney. A lot of people don't talk about this a whole lot, too, but Onion had actually broke the track record for 6.5 furlongs here at Saratoga the previous Tuesday, before he went against Secretariat in what would be Secretariat's first try against older horses. So he was in sharp form coming into that race. You don't see horses race that often back-to-back like that. But one of the great upsets we have ever seen here at this racetrack. Well, we had the Grade 2 Hall of Fame on turf yesterday. The top 3 finishers from the Manila back in action to do battle against each other again. And we had a few coming in from the Grade 1 Belmont Derby as well in Yoshida. But guys, bricks and mortar, he keeps his perfect record intact for Chad Brown.
Yeah, he got himself close to the pace, and Chad Brown talked about it afterwards in the post-race interview. Wanted to get him closer. Worked out a very good trip to get it done. I honestly think all 3 of these horses ran well in here. Big Handsome showed he could go a little bit longer, and Yoshida covered a lot more ground, Tom, than anybody else.
Yeah, I think Ortez was fooled a little bit by Yoshida and how much horse he thought he had underneath him, and he might be a little bit wiser about how much longer he waits before he asks. But look, the best horse won.
I'm with you. I did not like bricks and mortar the last time he ran, but it was just an instant replay where he sort of looks like he's grinding, and then boom, it's like he hits the turbo button, and he's right by you. And you're right here, Andy. He ran by 2 nice horses.
He's shown he can do it under different kinds of circumstances. He got the slow pace last time, and he came from well back and still won. This time, he was right on top of the pace, and he still accelerated by them. Onwards and upwards for this horse.
4 for 4, undefeated in his career.
Yeah, and I think he can go longer. You're right. He has a lot more tactability than it looks.
I won't be surprised if they're thinking of taking a shot at the Breeders' Cup Turf Mile. I don't see why they shouldn't at least be thinking about it at this point.
Well, if he just keeps on winning, certainly it's got to be on the radar. Perfect 4 for 4 now to start his career. The son of Giants Causeway has been very impressive in his 4 turf victories. Of course, the Hall of Fame class of 2017 was inducted on Friday right across the street here at the National Museum of Racing Hall of Fame. All the previous members on hand for the ceremony as well to induct the new class, including Victor Espinosa among the jockeys, Javier Castellano, and the late Garrett Gomez, of course, Goldakova, 3-time winner of the Breeders' Cup Mile, part of the 2017 class as well, and the late Tom Voss, 5-time national steeplechase leader in wins. Here is Hall of Famer himself, Ramon Dominguez, introducing Javier Castellano into the hall.
It was a privilege to ride with you, Javier, and even a greater honor to call you friend. Congratulations. I'm very proud of you. Let's please give a warm welcome to the newest Hall of Fame inductee, Javier Castellano.
I truly know how big an honor this is. I hope
I can live what the expectation that all the Hall of Fame riders have set for me. Horse race is truly passion of mine, and see the industry flourish is so very important. This game, we go through a lot of change, but everyone here in this room, I believe how many are saying aspiration to love this beautiful animal that give us wonderful young and many thrills that are given to us. The high can be high, the low can be low, but I hope that we can all stick together and be loyal to one another and the sport.
As Tom touched on, we lost Tom too soon, and this wasn't supposed to go like this. He should have been a Hall of Famer 10 years from now after training another champion on the flat, some more Grade 1 winners, a champion over jumps, whatever. And he would have come up here and told a half funny, half grouchy, kind of hard to understand speech, and he'd have been nervous, he'd have been outside smoking a cigarette, probably chewing on 5 or 6 Altoids, and then wipe his brow with a red handkerchief and come up here and go, why are we doing this? We got to check the fans, and the horses need this, and I got to do that. And it would have been great, and it would have meant a lot to him. He'd have been way more emotional than you thought, and that's the only thing missing.
In keeping with my father's tradition, I think he'd want to deflect praise on himself and instead give thanks to others. In saying thank you for honoring my dad's career in horse racing, it's impossible not to mention the man who is predominantly responsible for his success. Shug, you stood up here 13 years ago today, and you so graciously said that you would not have gotten here if it wasn't for our family. Well, I want you to know that Dad wouldn't have gotten here today without you.
Ogden Mills Phipps, one of 3 inducted in the Pillars of the Turf category, and these are 3 of the most influential and respected individuals in American thoroughbred history. Mr. Phipps, the chairman of the Jockey Club for an unprecedented length of 32 years. John Gaines, he organized the creation of the Breeders' Cup, and Matt Whitney helped guide the Kentucky Derby to the beginnings of America's greatest signature race. And also in 1911, Matt Whitney changed racing forever with the introduction of the $2 minimum wager. We're going to take a break in the action here on Saratoga Live. When we return, the great Secretariat, only a small part of the incredible history at Claiborne Farm and the enormous impact that they have had on horse racing for over a century. The story of Claiborne Farm when we come back on Saratoga Live.
Selected sales, superior results. Success starts at Saratoga, the #1 ranked yearling sale in North America.
We found Belmont Stakes winner Taprit at Fasig-Tipton, Saratoga. Where will you be in August?
Before Tepin conquered the world, she was a Fasig-Tipton Saratoga sales graduate. Where will you be this August?
The Fasig-Tipton Saratoga sale, August 7th and 8th. Where will you be?
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
Back at historic Saratoga on Whitney Day, where Gunrunner and Keen Ice will do battle later on this afternoon. Up next, we have this coming your way. Race 6 will kick off a guaranteed $1 million pick 4 sequence. It starts here in this maiden special weight for 2-year-olds traveling 6 furlongs on the main track. And this field full of first-time starters, and it is a first-time starter who is favored right now for Chad Brown. That is the 4 Engage. With more on this field, let's check in with Maggie.
Greg, that's right. Engage taking all the money right now for trainer Chad Brown. And he's a horse that they paid up for at the OBS March sale, $550,000 for this son of Into Mischief. Now we see these Into Mischiefs. They can run, and they can pretty much run on any surface, and they're precocious. But looking at this guy who did work 9-4 at that sale, garnering, I'm sure, a part of that huge purchase price, he did take a lot of urging. He felt the stick quite a few times overall. So it's not like he went 9-4 on his own. It was as if the agent wanted this horse to work fast, and he certainly got it, though. He does have a very quick, efficient stride, which you like. He looks fast here in the paddock. He is sharp. He's also a little bit on the green side, as you see them saddling him outside of the stalls overall. So I will keep my eye on him and how he behaves throughout this pre-race amble. But otherwise, he looks like he's fast, that he might be able to play catch me if you can here in his debut. Moving on to another first-time starter, as you just heard Engage saying, hey, I'm still here. But moving on, sorry, buddy, to number 2, CV for Kelly Brain. This is a good-looking son of Tiz Now. I like, you know, the dam was good and precocious herself, which I think is promising. Kelly Breen, a guy who can get one ready, and this guy has not turned a hair. He's classy looking, super coat on him. I mean, it's almost a mirror. It's so shiny overall, and he's well prepared. He's fit. I like what I see from CV. And then we'll check in with one who draws in, who does have some experience. That's number 11, one of 2 Todd Pletcher horses, National Flag. He was very, very well backed in his debut, but after kind of battling towards the front end, he just threw in the towel. Now, the only difference I can say with him from first to second start is that he's a lot more calm. He's a lot more settled here in the paddock than he was back at Belmont. Physically, he looks much the same. So I don't know if there's an excuse for him or if he's just a horse that, well, has some stamina issues. We'll find out more about him, though, or maybe he can rate this time and pick up the pieces, as we'll check in with Andy and Tom.
Well, this is an interesting race. These, you know, to me, guys, these 2-year-old races on a Saturday, Saratoga, I think Practical Joke broke his maiden first time out in Whitney Day last year. They're just so interesting to see what the future holds. Obviously, the way Engage, the firster's getting bet from the Chad Brown barn, there have to be stories he can run.
Well, you paid $550,000 for a son of Into Mischief. You better hope he can run, right? And he's got a couple really good works. I thought they were very solid works, too. 48s clipping off here and there. And then the last one in a solid 101 bruising.
Did you have any thoughts on his 2-year-old workout, Tom?
Yeah, so, I mean, that's the thing that's important here. A lot of these horses are bought for significant money, but the difference between some of the other horses in this race and Engage, the 4-horse we're talking about, is that you get a chance to look under the hood. This breeze right here, of course, is before he goes through the sales ring, and then the bidding starts. When you're buying yearlings, you don't get to see anything like this. They've never even been under tack yet. So you're getting an advanced view of what this horse has. Obviously, he was an attractive horse to sale, and there must have been a fight for him because $550,000 is a lot to spend for a 2-year-old to sales.
It is. Now, Todd Pletcher's got a couple of horses in here. One of them ran, and we'll get to him in a moment. But the firster slot, I had heard stories this horse supposed to be a runner, but the board is telling you, right now, this horse can't run at all. But we've seen Todd win with first-time starting 2-year-old Saratoga that pay big prices.
I think the issues with this horse is the gait. There's been a couple works in the morning reportedly where the horse has gotten out awkwardly or broke slowly. And a lot of these races are won in the first 100 to 150 yards. But you never know. He can catch a flyer, then he's really tough.
And you can make a strong assumption when you see a horse and he shows 3 gate breezes before his initial start that they're not getting the effect that they want out the gate, and they're having to continue to go back to the gate over and over again to try and get it right.
That's interesting because Todd Pletcher is known with his 2-year-olds. One of the reasons he's so successful with his firsters is they usually break, like the 11 National Flag. It's rare to see Todd start a first-time starting 2-year-old in a dirt sprint that goes off at 3 to 5, that not only loses, but almost runs dead last. In fact, did run dead last. Now, he dueled with a winner that day. You know he has speed. Can he clear this horse with some experience, clear this field?
That's a good question. Or does Johnny V decide that, hey, I need to rate this horse? Because it was a confusing race. When you look, he just had no resistance. He just collapsed.
So, look, one of 3 horses in this race that has experience, has actually run before. And I think you can't underestimate what that does for a horse, the education of a race. The outside horse, the 11 National Flag we're talking about, I like the fact that he's got a race under his belt. I like the fact that he was well thought of in that race. Wouldn't surprise me in the least to see him rebound.
Yeah, speaking of experience, and that's the reason I picked the 9. I picked the 9 Arrival also thinking I heard Todd's horse can run. I heard the I didn't hear the Chad could run. I just assumed up the workout he could run. I thought he'd get a price. I picked the 9 Arrival because I thought he'd get a lot out of his first race where he was green in that race. But he's bet off the board right now at 5-2.
Yeah, well, if you're a trip handicapper, all you got to do is watch his last race. First of all, he's by Tappet, and they win often. But watch him break from the inside here, and he doesn't break well. He gets rushed up, put into a spot where he can't go anywhere. And I don't know if he'll show down the lane, but down the lane, he has nowhere to run the entire stretch. The rider finally just gives up and coasts on in.
No, I thought this was a class. Sorry, Paul.
No, you're fine. You're right. And you can see Julian wheels him off. He was on the rail, and I think Julian wheeled him off the rail. Now, was the better move to maybe go 8 or 9 wide? He starts getting really green right here. Now, this is what Tom's talking about. He had nowhere to go.
And he's just sitting with his hands. And when you see a horse's head moving this way and that way down the stretch, it's because he's not being allowed to run. Nothing the rider could do. There were horses in front of him, bad traffic.
Yeah, it just seemed like he wanted to get him to the outside. The horse wanted to go outside, but he was stuck inside of horses. I think he'll run better, but I got to tell you, 5-2, it seems awfully short.
I don't know. That kind of purchase price for him tells me there's a lot under the tank there. I really think this horse is going to come in big today. We're talking about the 9 Arrival.
Yeah, speaking of that purchase price, $800,000 at the Keeneland September yearling sale 2016 for the son of Tappet. Talking about the 9 Arrival. That is a pretty penny to spend. We'll see what happens here in start number 2. He's bet down to 5-2. From his 5-2 morning line. He's the second choice on the board, and it is strange to see Todd Pletcher. He's got 2 of them in here, the 8 slot, the 11 National Flag. Both, you would have thought, taking some money. That one right there did. The 11 National Flag was odds on in his debut. There's Todd Pletcher. Both decent numbers here in start number 2. You usually see Todd Pletcher, firsters or even second-time starters, taking all the money in these races here at Saratoga. There's a look at John Velasquez in the Silks of Windstar Farm. Second time out here for National Flag, the son of Speightstown, who they spent $600,000 as well. $1 million guaranteed late pick for it begins here in race 6 on Whitney Day. It includes the Lure in the 7th, which is wide open, and then the Grade 1 Test and the Grade 1 Whitney with Gunrunner back in action, going up against Keen Ice and others. Keen Ice, of course, beating Shaman Ghost in that Suburban in a surprise last time out. Here comes our post spread. Here's the one Thunder's Honor. First time out for George Weaver with Manny Franco aboard.
Son of dialed in, and George Weaver has got sneaky 2-year-old numbers, over 19%. Could be a live long shot from there, Al.
CV with a bullet drill at Monmouth coming into his debut for trainer Kelly Breen. Paco Lopez rides.
He actually comes off of 2 very fast works for this debut.
Tapmaster scratch the 4 Engage for trainer Chad Brown. He's a 2-1 current favorite. Jose Ortiz rides.
We talked about him. He's a $500,000 purchase at the OBS Spring 2-year-old training sale.
He's the son of Midnight Loot for trainer John Kimmel with Kendrick Carmouche, Night Strings.
He shows a string of works, a steady string of works for his debut today.
D. Wayne Lucas, he's had a couple of winners already at Saratoga. This is the son of Painter Nanouche.
Yeah, your longest or second longest shot on the board. I would wait maybe a start here and then look for grass, bottom side of the pedigree.
1 of 2 for Todd Pletcher. This is slot. Javier Castellano rides.
Good-looking horse. We talked about the fact that he's got 3 gate works. Is there some issue with how he leaves the gate?
And the $800,000 son of Tappet for Mark Cassie with Joel Rosario Arrival.
A lot of issues in the last start. Broke flat, had nowhere to go late, and this gray broke at least a bullet work last time out. Worked well over this racetrack the last 2 times.
Second time out for Mad Monies, who'll put blinkers on for Kieran McLaughlin. Joe Bravo rides.
Yeah, blinkers on after an educational debut.
And in from the also eligible list, Todd Pletcher's National Flag, who was an odds-on favorite in his debut.
He was 3 wide most of the way, sparring the pace, and then just gave way. Confusing race, and 65 cents on the dollar. You're getting 5-1 today.
Will we see a rising star here in front of this packed house on Whitney Day the 6th from Saratoga? Coming up next, the start of a guaranteed $1 million pool in the Pick 4. Still to come, Chad Brown has a talented trio in the lore, but projected figures to be the one to beat. That's still to come.
NyraBet's Pick 5 is now available exclusively online at NyraBets.com. Bet the NyraBet's Pick 5 every race day with a 15% takeout on the last 5 races on the card from the country's best racing at Belmont and Saratoga. Find it nationwide on NyraBets.com right in the Bet Type drop-down menu or at any Nyra track or New York OTB location. NyraBet's Pick 5, racing's best bet.
Back on Saratoga Live, a packed house here on a beautiful Saturday afternoon for Whitney Day, where Gunrunner, one of the top thoroughbreds in the world, back in action off a romp in the Stephen Fossler. He's part of this guaranteed $1 million Pick 4 sequence. That, of course, is the Whitney. It also includes the Grade 1 test and the 5th running of the Fasig-Tipton Lure. It all begins, though, here in race 6. With 2-year-olds going 6 furlongs, a wide open group. Let's go to Gabby for more.
Thanks, Greg. Standing by Mark Cassidy, who sends out Arrival, and he had a bit of a troubled trip, to say the least, first time out. Mark, what did you make of that race?
You know what? I thought he ran well. Nothing went right, but he was determined, and he kept running at the end. He's come here and trained well, so we're keeping our fingers crossed.
In these baby races, how much of an advantage is it to have one race under your belt, especially going 3/4?
I think 20%. I think the other horse has to be maybe 20% better than you. It's one of the reasons why we try to get starts into our horses as soon as we can. So we'll see.
He clocked a pretty quick workout most recently here at Saratoga. Do you think we'll see a little bit more speed from him out of the gate?
Also, yeah, he didn't break great last time, and he kind of got himself together. There was some moisture in the track when he worked so well. I was hoping for maybe a little bit more today. I thought we were going to get it, but track seems good and fair.
But you got to love the post position outside.
Love the post position. Love the post position.
All right, I'll let you go watch the race, and best of luck here with Arrival.
Thank you, Gabby.
All right, Greg.
Gabby, thanks. Arrival for Mark Cassidy, one of only 3 with experience here in this race, talking about the 9-horse Arrival. With more on one of the long shots in this field, let's go to Maggie.
And a long shot that just caught my eye here, Greg, that is number 6 in here, Night Strings for trainer John Kimmel. We've seen John kind of pull some upsets here as far as 2-year-old racing is concerned, and this guy had a big, powerful stride as he galloped off away from the pony here in the warm-ups underneath Kendrick Carmouche. And while, yes, he might want a little more ground than the 6 furlongs, he is a grandson of Forestry, so at least there's some speed in that sense with him, and he looks fit and ready to me. One that's making his second start that certainly looked like he needed his debut is number 10, Mad Monies, who also applies blinkers today. A 3/4 cup on a trainee of Kieran McLaughlin. That's just a lot more tucked up and fit, having that race under his belt. And then a lot of these horses warming up without the ponies here, guys. One that got a big blast away from the pony was number 2, CV. Obviously, Paco Lopez, he's a speed rider. I'm thinking he's going to employ those tactics on this one who breaks towards the rail, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. There is CV. So an aggressive warm-up from Paco Lopez. Expect to see some speed out of him. And Maggie was talking about Night Strings. He's by Midnight Loot, who, of course, set a stakes record here in the Forgo in his first Grade 1 win of his career. Guys?
Well, there's a lot going on in this race. I mean, talking about the one, Thunder's Honor, George Weaver is as dangerous a trainer as there is, especially at Saratoga. His numbers the last several years are outstanding. You can see right there how well he does. I don't care what price this horse is. If you're making a spread play, you've got to use Weaver.
And you can be fooled because these horses that go to the sale and are bought, you look at the sale price, and sometimes you get caught up in that. Do the math. These horses were all born in 2015. This horse sold in January of 2016. That means he sold as a weanling, which is really early in his life. You can't expect the purchase price to be more than $50,000 or so. That's no knock against a horse like the one horse, Thunder's Honor.
Yeah, and the bottom side of the pedigree gets some speed. Now, when you look at the 10, Mad Monies, Kieran McLaughlin's gotten off to a great start to this meet, 11-1. It was a legit steady. Now, the horse broke pretty sharp, had to just take back a tiny bit. Now puts the blinkers on. You're going to try to get him more focused.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with this horse. I mean, it was bet that day. Actually, this one wasn't the one bet. I'm confused and going to rain another day. He can run better. Kieran's horse often run better second time out.
And he gets away from the rail as well. He's got an outside post this afternoon for start number 2 as we get another look here at CV. And this is the one Maggie expected we're going to see some speed out of early on.
You would think so. The Dan Bickerson was a fast sprinter. This horse could be precocious for a very dangerous trainer.
And how often do we see these young horses that are trying to learn and get things going be dominated by a horse that can show speed and put them away in the first quarter of a mile? This horse is geared up through works as well as the rider choice as a horse that's going to send right out of the gate.
Yeah, Kelly Breen and George Hall have been doing this for a long time. They're a team that have been sending out 2-year-olds. This is Son of Tisnell, but Kelly knows how to get speed out of him.
Meanwhile, just no money on Slot, the 8-horse for Todd Pletcher, and that is strange to see. For more, let's go to Maggie.
I thought all the points the guys brought up with this horse were very intriguing and true, and that I heard as well as Andy that this horse can run, but the multitude of gate works that this guy has screams that he's going to be a bit green. He was green in the paddock. He's been good out here, I'll give him that, but he's wearing blinkers for his first start, and whenever I see a Todd Pletcher horse wearing blinkers in their debut, it usually means that they're going to need a race, that they're kind of green, that they don't have that much gate speed, so I think the board is very telling, Greg.
Yeah, and Andy, I mean, these are the races where you kind of do use the tote board a little bit as your friend, right?
Yeah, I'm a little frantically getting my late pick, my pick 4 in right now. We haven't reached the guarantee. That means there's value in this pick 4, so it's late, but I'm hustling my bets in, guys.
All right, Andy, get it in. $1 million guaranteed pool in this late pick 4. It includes back-to-back grade 1s of the Test and the Whitney. Let's send it upstairs for the first leg of the sequence to the voice of the Triple Crown, Larry Colmus. Take it away.
And now Night Strings moves up into the starting gate, which means we just have 2 left to load. They are Mad Monies and National Flag. National Flag and John Velasquez coming up to the outside stall. Hesitates just a bit, now steps forward and in. They're all in line. They're off. Not a good start at all for Arrival, who's away last. CV out for the lead. Thunder's Honor on the inside. These two with early speed. And right behind them are Engage and National Flag on the outside. Slot is fifth early on, 5 lengths from the front. Then Mad Money's followed by Night Strings. 5 lengths farther back to Arrival, who was slow to begin. And Nanoosh is last of them all. The first quarter's up in 22.13 seconds as they speed for the far turn. Thunder's Honor and Manny Franco lead the way. Taken on now by Engage. National Flag is 3 wide. CV's under a drive to keep up with them. Mad Money's circling up on the outside. Needing a place to go there is Slot, who got caught in traffic. Slot got in trouble there and is 6 lengths behind as they come toward the top of the stretch. Engage and National Flag 44.99, and they're bumping as they come to the final furlong. They're really right together. Engage on the inside. National Flag on the outside. Slot is out of trouble but 6 lengths behind. National Flag now to the front. Engage battles on from the inside. National Flag's got it close to home though. National Flag puts away Engage, wins it a length and a half. Slot was third and fourth was Arrival in a final time of 1 minute 10.35 seconds.
Well, National Flag here crosses the wire first, but National Flag and Engage were all over each other down the stretch, and a troubled trip from Slot behind them, guys.
Yeah, this is a tricky replay to watch. They were bumping and weaving down the lane. We're going to watch this. You know, the 8 lost his spot by himself. He just got outrun by the 10 and then re-engaged. Now, when you get down right here, they're going to touch here. I don't know if it's mutual touching. We're going to have to see the head-on, but they're definitely going to throw it down. This ends up being a good horse race.
Yeah, look, experience is a great teacher. Take nothing away from the horse on the inside, Engage, but the fact that the 11 National Flag had a race under his belt, it made the difference in this last eighth of a mile.
This was a thrilling race. I mean, these two horses look like drunken sailors at the top of the stretch, and I was wondering, we all wondered if somebody might be able to pick them up. Now, maybe if Slot didn't get in trouble, he would have. We'll see the contact here. It does seem like he was leaning a little bit at this point, but nothing that severe yet. He is coming in on him.
A tiny bit, right? But I don't think there's anything there. I'd love to go back to the turn again to see where the 8 Slot was at, because it looks like he has trouble, but it really doesn't. He sort of just got blind switched, and then when he picked it up, it was too late.
I want to say something else. The 9 Arrival, and I'm not defending a horse I liked because he was too short of price.
Again, yeah.
But he got dead left. Now, they were blazing up front, but he actually finished 4th. He's still a horse that's his own worst enemy.
Yeah, I'd like to have a win ticket on the 11 right now. The only problem I saw down the stretch was that Engage was hitting left-handed and came out against the 11 National Flag.
Definitely looked a little more dramatic during the running of the race than after seeing the head-on. John Velasquez, meanwhile, back-to-back wins. Let's go to Maggie.
Yeah, keeping things rolling here, Johnny V, is a National Flag, Johnny, a horse that you rode in his first start. He got tired that day, but you kind of went with different tactics this time around.
Well, today I know he was going to be quick anyway, so I had a good post position, just like last time. Last time I took a chance to get the horse he already ran and tried to put him in the lead and get that horse at scratch. And that horse ended up standing next to me. We went too fast, and my horse just got tired.
Now, a little bit of bumping going on with you and Engage. Did that kind of almost spur your horse on a little bit more?
No, he got mad, to tell you the truth. He got mad. It's like, no, you're going to stay there. He held them together. Obviously, he's a lot of fitter now from the last time, so he took everything that came out of him.
All right, it's tough to beat Todd Pletcher in these 2-year-old races, as you too, Johnny. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Guys.
Dramatic down the stretch between the two trainers who dominate here. Of course, Todd Pletcher had for years. Chad Brown getting his first Saratoga meet title last year. That is a look at Fire Away. We're going to see him coming up next in the lore. His trainer, Shug McGahee, of course, trained the great lore, the Hall of Famer, during his exceptional career. He trains this long shot and would love a victory in that race. Claiborne Farm has been a driving force in horse racing for over a century and remains that way today. The story of how they've embraced the past, looking to the future next.
Claiborne Farm's Flatter is carrying the flag for AP Indy, rewarding breeders in the sales ring and on the track. Among the nation's leading sires by Grade 1 stakes horses in 2016, this year's stars include Terrace, Upstart, Kobe's Back, Amy's Flatter, and most recently, Paola Queen, winner of the Grade 1 Test Stakes at Saratoga. Success on the track has led to big numbers in the auction ring as well, with yearlings this year selling up to $425,000. Flatter at Claiborne Farm.
Change the way you watch racing forever with the new NYRA Now app. Live racing in English or Spanish. From a variety of camera angles, race replays, talking horses, race analysis, and a multitude of on-demand content, all in high definition. NYRA Now is available on many platforms, including iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and more coming soon. Download NYRA Now today, free in the App Store, and start watching the best racing like never before. National Flag in the winner's circle. He was bet down to odds-on favorite in his debut. The word was out that he was a serious racehorse, but he flopped in his debut. Second time out, he gets to the winner's circle for Todd Pletcher, Windstar Farm with John Velasquez. Gabby standing by with Todd Pletcher now.
The National Flag gets the victory here. And Todd, he's a horse that showed a lot of speed in his first start last time out, showed some speed again today. What was the difference, though, today?
Well, I think he needed the race the first time, and they went very fast early, and it simply wasn't fit enough to do that, going as fast as he did early. Drawing the outside post today, we tried to take advantage of it and let him kind of ease into the race, and I think having a race under his belt was a big edge.
He bumped and got bumped a couple times coming down the stretch. Is it nice to see a young horse kind of turn that back and keep on going?
Yeah, he showed some determination and fight. The only thing he didn't do is he stayed on his left lead, and I think because they were kind of tight on each other, Johnny didn't really have the room to maneuver him over onto his right lead, but he's still able to find a little more the last 16th.
Keen Ice and the Whitney later on today. Talk of the town is that he's training just as good as he ever has been. Is he a horse that you think just absolutely loves Saratoga?
He's training very well. He trained very well at Belmont also before the Suburban. He seems like he's held form. Like I've said, I wish today's race was 1.25 miles because I think that's his specialty, but hopefully it'll be a good, honest pace to run out.
Well, talking about the pace, it seems like it will. Do you think that it made all the difference last time out when Jose got him in position at the quarter pole in the Suburban?
That was the key, is that he put himself into the race, was able to do that without Jose using him too much, and hopefully he can do the same today.
All right, well, congratulations with National Flag, and best of luck with Keen Ice later.
Thank you.
All right, Greg, back to you.
Gabby, thanks. And a 2-year-old to keep our eyes on with National Flag. Still to come is the Lure. Back in the Daryl's Joy in 1993, Lure got his revenge against Saratoga. That's just part of the legendary story of Claiborne Farm. Its origins began in Virginia, but eventually Arthur Hancock moved the operation to Kentucky, and the rest has been history.
So I'm 5th generation. We started in Virginia shortly after the Civil War, and then we moved here to Kentucky where we are today in 1910. It was more breed to race. You know, it was kind of a mom and pop kind of thing, and then everyone, the intention was to see who had the fastest horse. Back in the day, they said, I have horses, you have horses, let's see which ones are faster, and they'd go out to the field and race them. That's how it all got started. And that's, you know, certainly, it's morphed into what it is today over the years.
It's kind of like Disneyland for horses. It's a special place, and, you know, the history behind it and the horses that have been raised here and that are here now, it's a special place, I think, for a lot of people. And it shows in the number of tours that we do every day, especially starting in about April through October. You know, there'll be 30 to 50 people through here twice a day for tours. So, you know, it kind of tells you what this place is.
You know, I started working on the farm when I was 8 years old. There's pictures of me at the sales leading around the mare, and I'm 8 years old in 1997. So it's kind of been in my blood my whole life, and it's something I knew I always wanted to do. My dad told me it's certainly something I didn't have to do, but I was never really questioned because I wanted to do it. So it was an easy decision.
I mean, Walker's raised here, grown up here. He's a great young man, and his parents have done a tremendous job with him. So, you know, it's kind of like the horses that have been raised here. He was bred and raised here to do what he's doing.
I mean, we really haven't changed. We try and have some simplistic attitude towards everything, and everyone does their job, and that's why our slogans, you know, do the usual and usually well, with just everyone's has their own job and does it to the best of their ability. Right now, I think we have 220 mares maybe here, and then we'll have 140 foals on the ground. We'll have 44 yearlings. We're prepping for September sale next month. Well, Warfront's our highest priced stallion. Obviously, he's known internationally.
One of the leading sires in the world. He stands for $250,000, and you know, he started at 12.5, and he's worked his way up and gotten runners on the dirt and the turf at the highest level.
Mastery. We haven't announced a stud fee yet, but we're really excited about him. He's such a brilliant 3-year-old. This year, unfortunately, got hurt and wasn't really able to showcase his true talent he had. Listen to Bob Baffert, he might have been just as talented as American Pharaoh, so at least one of my personal favorite horses. It was nice to follow his career that closely. And he has some fantastic looking babies, so we're excited about him.
I think that Claiborne Farm's probably focused on the whole package from beginning to end. You know, I mean, it starts with the stallions and the mares, and then the offspring and how you raise the offspring, and how the offspring then are moved from Claiborne Farm to be broken to the trainers, and you know, the whole process is what, you know, I think it's just a function of always paying attention to the details and making sure everything's done the right way and for the best of the interest of the horse.
Going back to the original concept of my horse is faster than your horse, it's kind of fun just to line them up and see who's faster. So yeah, the racing part really excites me. Watching Dad my whole life and just how he's a hard worker and honest with people, and what he says is his word and he's not going to change it. So really just kind of picking up on his way of life and just being a good role model for me, and to follow in his footsteps, something I'm trying to do. We're true to our simplistic values. That's what's got us here this far, so why change them? But it is a challenge to stay up with the times and evolve and hold true to your values, so we're trying to find that balance. People ask me what are my goals for Claiborne Farm, and it's really just to hand it off to someone else and keep it going. And if I do that, obviously we've been somewhat successful. We're still around, and it's still going well.
Well, so many of the greats who have been part of this game, part of the Claiborne story, buried on the grounds there. Bold Ruler, Buck Passer, Gallant Fox, Secretariat, Mr. Prospector. The list goes on and on. How special would a win in the lure be for the man who trained him? Shug McGahee sending out Fire Away in the race named after his Hall of Famer when we come back.
And they're off in New York. the premier state-bred program in the United States. When you own a New York bred, your horse can run for more than $44 million in purses restricted to registered New York breds. And the New York program pays awards to breeders, owners, and stallion owners when their New York breds finish first, second, or third at New York tracks. We have the quality.
Coda, they won't catch Monin. Monin wins the February Stakes.
You have the opportunity. New York breds, get with the program. The best program.
Back here in Saratoga Springs at the premier race meet in the country. It is Whitney Day here at the Spa. And the lure coming up next to look at his resume. Bred and owned by Claiborne Farm. His very first race, he actually set a track record at Belmont on the main track, sprinting. They thought it could be a classic type horse, but it wasn't until Shug McGahee switched him to the turf that he became the horse that everyone thought he might be. And he went on to greatness, inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2013, set a Breeders' Cup Mile course record in 1992, and he defended his title in 1993. The late pick 5 begins right here. Of course, a single winning ticket payout, minimum of $300,000 on Saturdays. To be eligible for that, you must play it through Naira Bets. And you can play with Naira Bets all across the country. And also today we have a 10% winner's bonus beginning in this late pick 5. So if you play that late pick 5, 10% winner's bonus on the payout. If you're the single winner, it's $300,000. So must play in this late pick 5 this afternoon. Guys, of course, Chad Brown, he has 3 in this race, including the 2015, 2016 winners of the Hall of Fame. But it is neither of those two who is the horse to beat in this race. He looks loaded here.
No, there's no question. He's loaded, but projected. The horse in the rail is the horse to beat in this race. I think that I knew the stewards wouldn't take him down the winner because they allow that kind of riding. I don't think they should, but they do. He was badly interfered with on 2 specific times last race, was best last time, and I think he's very hard to beat today.
So if I push back on that and I say to you that, okay, I'll give you that, but when he got clear and it was time to run, he simply got outfinished. Agree or disagree?
You've said a lot of insane things in the show, but now all of them are going to take second to that.
Well, here's the thing.
Let the Duke defend
the horse on the
this.
front end is floating out, okay? So what ends up happening, he has to cut to the inside, does Rosario. Does it cost him the race? If he goes 6 or 7 wide, or did he just get outridden by the person in front of him? And if you go to the gallop out, Oh, they don't pay for you.
I'm
on the
very
Gallop app.
successful in Gallop Racer when I play Gallop Racer on PlayStation, doing that move. But fortunately, there are no stewards.
Well, here's the problem. You have this problem with these jockeys. You think they can press the hyperspace button, and they're just going to go. And it doesn't work like that on the track.
Well, I mean, he was trying to go, and he kept getting blocked. Regardless of that, let's just say he was second best, for argument's sake.
Okay.
Battle Rocks is one of the favorites in next week's Grade 1.
Yeah, that's true.
Grade 1 4-star Dave. So I think at the end of the day, he's just a better horse
And we should point out, this is a restricted stake, so it makes him a player, obviously.
He is the horse to beat in here.
He's a 2-1 favorite as we take a look at Black Type right in there for Christophe Clement. And that is a horse who projected for Chad Brown has beat. In fact, he beat him 2 starts back. With more on the field, let's go to Maggie.
And with this Fasig-Tipton lure, we will check in with the other Chad Brown horses. That includes number 2 in here, Takeover Target, and both of which, these are coming off of layoffs. And to me, Takeover Target looks great. He's always a horse that kind of presents himself well, but he's a heavier-bodied, stuffier type. So I wouldn't be surprised if he just needs a start. And plus, he's a little bit more docile than I've seen him in the past. Not in a bad way. It's just, I think when he runs his best race, he really gets on the bit and really kind of revs himself up pre-race. And that's just not necessarily what I'm seeing here today. I think we'll use this as a stepping stone for a horse that obviously has some ability. Moving on to Chad's other horse in here, that's number 11, Camelot Kitten. He's probably the 3rd best of this trio. He looks okay. He's never a horse that looks great in his coat, and he just looks as though he will benefit from getting a race to kind of strengthen up overall. Now, one coming off a kind of shorter layoff, or I shouldn't say not even a layoff at all, really, is number 8, Ring Weekend. The last time I had seen this horse is when he was kind of 2nd and 3rd off that very long layoff, when Grand Motion had studied that he had foot issues, and I find it interesting that going back to those races, that he had Equilox, which is something that they use on horses' feet to kind of make it a little bit more gentle for them for putting nails in shoes or in their feet. And he doesn't have any of that on anymore. His feet look great. I think physically he looks better than last year. Granted, his form may not reflect that, but I love what I'm seeing from Ring Weekend as he gets back here to the spa. And of course, that Gabby brought up earlier with Grand Motion, that he obviously has an affinity to. Guys?
Maggie seems to have some positive thoughts on this horse. You like him, Tom? To me, Ring Weekend is a good horse that's past his expiration date, and he's just not as competitive as he once was.
So he has to get back to last year to win a race like this. Agreed?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, we know he likes the track, and we also know that he's had foot issues the entire of last year. We got some rain last night, and if you watch the 2 turf races we've had over the Widener today, there's a lot of give in the grass, and I think that's going to benefit Ring Weekend and give him that opportunity to get back to where he was.
Well, the best handicapping tool is time, right? And I'm going to push back on you, Tom. This horse came out west and ran against okay horses. Balabali's all right. What a views of Kenny Blackrunner. Bolo, we've seen him come out here and flop twice. He can't even stand in New York. To me, if I'm going to take a price in here between the 8 and the 7 is 10-1 and the 8's 5-1. The 7 should be a Grade 1 winner. The race at Keeneland in the Maker's Mile 46 was the best and was going to win that race. 2 starts back against projected, even had more trouble.
Yeah, we've moved on to the 7 Black Type. That's the 8 Ring Weekend up there. We'll find Black Type, but I'm with Paul. Now, the Maker's 46 might be one of the worst Grade 1s we've ever run in this country, but regardless, you're right. He should have won that day. And I know I didn't even bet him. You guys are the ones that bet him that day. The chart caller made up some fake trouble at the start that didn't happen and completely missed the fact that he was blocked for life in the stretch, Tom.
No, indeed. And a race like that for Black Type puts him in the winner's circle today. He's got to get back to it, too, though.
Yeah, that's true, too. You make a good point there.
His last race was, I think, a little better than it looked. He was kind of put into a tough spot. I think he's going to run much better in this race. I'm not, a horse that we weren't going to talk about, or should we talk about Takeover Target, the 2 here? I mean, this is a horse that obviously went the wrong way last year. But he likes a little give in the ground, so that's going to help him. And if he gets back to his best race, the Dixie, he's a big-time player in here.
He's the other Chad Brown horse. Chad Brown has the 1 projected and also has the 2 Takeover Target. My question to you, as it concerns these 2 horses,
he's got 3.
Why is Joel Rosario getting off projected? He's ridden him the last 4 times and now on Takeover Target.
The other thing, too, is you make a great point. He's a Chad Brown runner. He's beaten 1 horse home 2 horses home and 2 horses home in his last 3 races.
Oh, no, he has not been good. Now, obviously, something went amiss, but he is coming back after a lengthy layoff. I don't love him in here.
No.
He's a big price, and he's going to get the right kind of trip sitting off in the pocket. I just think he's one of the few horses in here, like a horse like Ring Weekend, that has the talent to win this race if he can find his former form, and he's a big price.
Well, we haven't talked about the other Chad Brown horse, Camelot Kitten, a player in this spot.
You know, he's a funny horse, guys, because he had an unbelievable season last year. He made over $860,000, and he never got a lot of respect. He got one perfect trip after another, but all he did was win. It's going to be tough, though, I think, from this post to work out that perfect trip.
Yeah, he's fooled me multiple times, but you're right. He's a type of horse that puts himself in the right spot. He rolled the dice along the rail when he beat Beach Patrol the race before this one. He's an honest horse.
Coming off a layoff, hasn't run since December. This will be his first time to face older horses. Those races last year were all against 3-year-olds.
Time for our post parade. It is brought to you by OCD Pellets, celebrating their 10th anniversary of supporting the equine industry with their 2-in-1 bone and joint supplement. For more information, visit OCDpellets.com. We start off with our post parade for the Fasig-Tipton lore with projected one of 3 in here for trainer Chad Brown, Javier Castellano for Juddmonte Farms.
He's absolutely the horse to beat. He has enough tactical speed to sit in a good spot, much like Delta Prince did earlier today.
Klarovich Stables and William Lawrence send out takeover target also for Chad Brown with Joel Rosario.
He's got to get back to that older form. The last 3 races have been confusing.
Zenor for Godolphin Racing, Joe Bravo and Kieran McLaughlin team up.
He's taking this big step up, but he is in career form.
Our Way campaign for James Bond, owned by William Clifton, Florent Giroux in the irons.
This horse usually runs well off of freshening, and 2 of the 4 wins have been at the Spa.
Obana is the 6 here for Richard Colton, Al Stahl trainee with Luis Saez.
First time in North America. This horse comes from France for Al Stahl and has a good record, an honest gelding here.
Black Type, a multiple graded stakes winner for Jump Sucker Stable. Rajiv Mirage rides for Christophe Clement.
He has races that are good enough to win this. He is not impossible at a very fair price.
Here's Ring Weekend for St. Elias Stable and West Point Thoroughbreds, trained by Graham Motion with Jose Ortiz.
Hasn't been seen since June 15th. Went second to a very sharp Ghost Hunter. Does have 2 of the 7 wins here at Saratoga.
Claiborne owned and bred lore. Claiborne sire Warfront here. Fire Away. John Velasquez aboard for the Phipps stable with Shug McGahee.
2 starts back, I thought had a tough trip. Was up on the pace. Last time out, I think that was preferred the way he wants to run. Needs a little bit of cover, but with the outside post, he's going to have to use his speed up early.
Here's Ken and Sarah Ramsey's Camelot Kitten, Irad Ortiz Jr. for Chad Brown.
He sits inside the speed of this race. He has to find the right trip from an outside post, but he's a horse that knows how to win.
And McKagan for Trinity Farm. Kendrick Carmouche aboard for Hall of Famer Bill Mott.
You know, he's beaten Black Type before at 34-1. He gets a tough draw here. I think he's live at 17-1. Just can't love the 12 post.
Can Shug McGahee win the race named for a horse he trained and earned entry into the Hall of Fame? He's standing by with Gabby Gaudette.
He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2013. That is Laura standing with Shug McGahee. And Laura was a very cool horse. Not only did he dead heat with Devil Is Due and the Gotham, was a very good dirt horse, but turned out to be an incredible turf horse. Shug, what prompted you to even take him to the turf in the first place?
Well, after the Gotham, he ran 3rd in the Lexington, I think, and then he came back and we ran him in what's the Woody Stevens now was the Riva Ridge then. He didn't run very well, and Claiborne owned him. I told Seth I'm going to take him to Saratoga. At that time, we could train all the time on the grass, see if I can't get him turned around a little bit. And from the minute he didn't look good, you know, like during the summer, and from the minute I put him on the grass, just everything started to change.
What was he has a bevy of incredible races, but what was your favorite race from him?
Well, when he ran at Gulfstream as a 3-year-old in the Breeders' Cup Mile was, you know, I don't know if I've ever had a horse that, when I looked at him in the paddock, looked as well as he did, and he had an inside post, and I told Mike take advantage of it, and he set the course record that day, and it was just pretty exciting to watch the horse come from where to develop into what he developed into.
He was such a fast horse as well, and incredible resume that he showcased. And, of course, for his namesake here, you send out Fire Away. What are your expectations with this horse?
Well, I'll tell you, I don't really know. He's been doing good. I think that he's a little bit better horse than some of his races show. His last race at Belmont was good. I wanted to run him back, and he got some kind of skin irritation on him, and so I had to back off of him. But, you know, I thought this was a place I could kind of get him started again. You know, the other 3 other vans that he's eligible for are longer races, and I didn't really want to throw him to the wolves too quick. So, you know, I thought, well, we'll start him out here, and if we're right, we're right. And if we're wrong, we'll get him going, get him stretched out after that.
Well, you got to be in it to win it, Shug. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
All right, Gabby, thank you.
Best of luck. All right, back to you, Greg.
Gabby, thank you. It would be very, very special for Shug McGahee to win this race from one that he used to train here. Fire Away on the board at 21-1, guys.
Fire Away, I think, is in a little bit tough here, but I'll tell you a long shot that I think has a chance in here. The 12 McKagan. They're not going to make the mistake they made last time in trying to rate him, and this is a horse that can get very brave on the front end.
He can run a big one. He beat, like I said, Black Type in the Artie Schiller in November, and he ran a bang-up race, and he threw in a couple clunkers, and what happens? He came back with another bang-up race. He is a Jekyll and Hyde type of horse.
Well, he gets a real break. The scratch of the 5 in this race is really the only other speed in the race. So it's, even from that outside post, Paul, that you mentioned, it's a chance for him to control the pace up front. We're talking about the 12 horse.
Does he need the lead, Andy?
He doesn't need the lead in general, but he needs to lead, I think, in this race, Paul, to beat this kind of quality horse. We haven't even given any love to Our Way. It's a horse that won 2 races, including a stake last year at Saratoga, and he's an improved horse for Jimmy Bond. Is he impossible here?
Well, he's getting a chance to do something that he already did once and won, and that is running a restricted type stake. So he comes out of 2 Grade 3 races into this race. So I think this is a class relief for the 4-horse Our Way, and he gets Florent Giroux, in my opinion, one of the best turf riders in the United States.
Yeah, and his 2 races here last year were dynamite. He won both of them over this turf course. Then he went over a Belmont soft turf course, and I think that might have knocked him out, and he was a little bit flat in the Appleton. Now, all included won the Appleton. We just saw how talented the other turf horse is that won easy, Delta Prince, who all included beat easily. So he's live in here.
Meanwhile, big long shot on the outside for Bill Mott. McKagan, Kendrick Carmouche will be aboard with more on McKagan. Let's go to Maggie.
And I kind of echo the same sentiments that the guys had on the desk with McKagan. I think he's a kind of live long shot horse. I respect this guy, New York bred, who has overachieved consistently. Now his biggest hurdle is obviously that outside post, but Kendrick Carmouche, he aggressed him up warmed him up aggressively, excuse me. So he's certainly going to try to leave there with run on his mind. And McKagan is just a horse that I've always been a fan of. Now, another horse that's a little bit interesting as a long shot is number 6, Aubenas, for trainer Al Stahl. And Al Stahl, he's crafty with these with horses that he brings up here to the spa, and he made a good impression. He might need to start over, over here in the States. He might be a little bit rusty, not quite as sharp leaving the gates, but we'll see. Maybe one that sneaks in as far as exotics are concerned, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. Yeah, Aubenas, 17-1 for Al Stahl here. States debut for this 4-year-old. Coming in from France, and Al Stahl has had a nice start to the meet.
Al won a race earlier today. He's got 3 wins already at the meet. Tom, you got to win a race or 2 to catch up to your buddy Al.
I got some real catching up to do because he's got some real bullets in that barn coming up as well. But I think the thing about this horse, he's a question mark, a joker in this race, right? I mean, you really don't know how it's going to go with him. His form from out of this country is very good.
Trio of runners in this race for trainer Chad Brown, but it's projected the one who is the favorite. It's the 5th running of the Fasig-Tipton Lure. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York Racing for the call, Larry Colmus.
And here's Ring Weekend, and Jose Ortiz moving into the starting gate. Fire Away steps forward. Here comes Aubenas and Camelot Kitten. And the last one to load will be McKagan. 7-5 on projected, who comes out of the rail post with Javier Castellano. They're all in line. They're off in the Fasig-Tipton Lure. And Zenner goes out to lead them early. Our Way, McKagan sent up on the far outside, and projected is right there in contention early too, making their way for that first turn. Then comes Black Type. Camelot Kitten, and down on the inside is Takeover Target. As they race into the turn, McKagan has cleared from that far outside post. Opens up a length and a half. Zenner settles into stride second onto the back stretch. After that comes Black Type in third, projected as fourth. Racing on the rails, 6 lengths off of McKagan, who went 23.92 for the opening quarter mile. Then our way, a hard-held Takeover Target on the inside. Break of another 2 back to Camelot Kitten. Then it's Obanov, Fire Away, and last of them all, Ring Weekend. Up the backstretch, McKagan leads the way. Kendra Carmouche and McKagan 3 lengths in front of Zenner, running in second. Black Type is third, projected fourth. With Takeover Target coming through an opening on the inside of the stablemate, and now moving up a couple of spots all the way up into third after the field races for the far turn. McKagan leads the way by 4 to Zenner. Takeover Target continues to progress well inside of Black Type. Projected is going to come outside of horses, 6 lengths behind. Camelot Kitten, Our Way is next, and they're coming toward the top of the stretch. 3/4 in 109.88. They're into the stretch. McKagan in front. Zenner comes on the attack now on the outside. In behind horses, Takeover Target needs a place to go. Here's Projected with his run on the outside. In behind them is Black Type. Ring Weekends on the far outside, but it's Zenner in front. Zenner has the lead coming down to the wire. Projected is second as they come to the finish. Zenner and Joe Bravo win it. It was Projected second, then a photo between Takeover Target and Fire Away. The final time was 1 minute 39.23 seconds.
Well, McKagan had things his own way on the front end, but in the end, it is Zenner and Jersey Joe Bravo for Kieran McLaughlin. That's 3 wins in a row for this 5-year-old.
So we talked about a number of horses in this race, guys, that needed to get back to their best. Zenner was the up-and-coming horse in this race. He's won 3 of his last 4. Confidence is when you put horses in big races. Zenner had confidence today. Beat this group.
This was a real improvement for him. He sat behind McKagan, who absolutely backed up, and they came to the top of the stretch. They got Projected to the outside, but he really didn't have a strong closing kick. And in fact, Takeover Target ran pretty well off the layoff to be behind him. But Zenner, he was just best.
I can't find any excuses. Maybe Ring Weekend was a tiny bit wide. I thought Black Type had a good trip. Projected had a very good trip. Zenner just beat this field plain and square.
Here he is again, coming down the stretch, the son of Medaglia d'Oro. He had already won on this turf course before. He does it again, and now he has won 4 of his last 5 starts, and he did it in a sharp final time as well. 1:39.1 final time for the mile and a 16th.
Turf course is clearly not showing the effects of the rain. They are extremely firm. The sun came out, washed off any of that rain. This horse was just best today. What can you say?
Yeah, and I think the underlying part about this is that we always forget how good of a rider, turf rider, Joe Bravo is.
Let's send it to Maggie for more.
And here with Jersey Joe Bravo. Joe, you have quite the rapport with Zenner here.
I tell you, he's been really good. You know, hey, Johnny, thanks. When he was a baby, he used to work with Frosted. He's a late bloomer like I am, you know, and look what he's been doing lately.
Never aging, that's for sure. He's won 3 in a row. You've been in the irons each time. Is this horse improving, Joe?
Wow, look what he did today. So relaxed, so comfortable. He's been from way out of it. He sat close to the pace today. Don't you love push-button horses?
I know you do. You've had a nice little run here at the spot, too.
Yeah, Spa's been treating me really good. Who don't like Saratoga? All I can say is thanks, Godolphin. Thanks, Karen. You guys are great. Made me look good again.
Yes, Kieran is having one heck of a meet. Joe, congratulations.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Greg?
Joe Bravo making all the right moves on Zenner. Kieran McLaughlin, Godolphin Blue in the winner's circle for the 5th running of the Fasig-Tipton Lure. And even Shug McGahee winds up getting a piece of this. 3-1-2-10. His long shot, Fire Away, gets 4th here at 29-1. But it's Zenner who gets the victory. In the lure still to come is Gun Runner, ready for the challenge of the Grade 1 Whitney. We'll talk Whitney when we come back.
Change the way you watch racing forever with the new Naira Now app. Live racing in English or Spanish. From a variety of camera angles, race replays, talking horses, race analysis, and a multitude of on-demand content, all in high definition. Naira Now is available on many platforms, including iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and more coming soon. Download Naira Now today, free in the App Store, and start watching the best racing like never before.
Back on Saratoga Live, there's Kieran McLaughlin in the shades and feeling real good about not only this win here in the Fasig-Tipton Lure, but the entire meet he has been having. He's been sensational here at Saratoga in 2017. Zenner, wow, really putting together a nice resume here in 2017. Has reeled off now 4 victories in the last 5 starts, and this was the stakes debut for Zenor, so maybe bigger and better things to come. Wins at a huge price here, returning $30.60 for the victory. Wins for Godolphin Racing. Of course, Joe Bravo aboard for the win and trained by the man standing by with Gabby Gaudet.
Thanks, Greg. Yes, joined with Kieran McLaughlin, the trainer of Zenner. And Zenner, he's a pretty neat horse, Kieran, and it looks like he went through all of his allowance conditions, won the 3 other than last time out. Was this just a logical next step? How confident were you going into today's race?
It was a logical next step, but it came up like a grade 2. It's supposed to be a beaten stake. But Joe Bravo deserves a lot of credit. He said there wasn't much pace in the race, and he rode him great. So we're very happy, neat horse.
Now, Joe did mention in the post-race interview that he used to work with Frosted. Is this a horse that is a little bit of a late bloomer, in your opinion?
Yes, and the gelding probably helped him, but he did work here as a 2-year-old with Imperia and Frosted, and he actually was the first 2-year-old to run in Godolphin colors and went off at like even money because of that. But it's nice that he's winning 3, 4 in a row now, so he's doing very well.
Do you find that some of these older turf horses, especially at 5, they just continue to get better?
Yes, and he's really figured him out, so I give him a lot of credit.
All right.
He deserves the credit.
All right. Well, you deserve a lot of credit as well, Kieran. Congratulations here.
Thank you very much.
Zenner getting the victory in the Lure.
Gabby, thanks. And yet, Kieran is right. I mean, this really is more like a grade 2 win. He beats Zenor 4 graded stakes winners in this race. So I would expect to see him maybe in some tougher spots to come, although this was a much tougher spot than probably what it said in the running lines there. Zenner, $30.60 to start off this Naira Bets late pick 5 follow-up. So some fireworks to begin things here in the Naira Bets late pick 5. If you're playing at home in the Saratoga Showdown contest, here is a look at our top players and where they stand. Again, if you get entered in this, you can go to SaratogaShowdown.com or to Naira.com, and prize packages on your mythical bankroll that includes a prize package to the 2018 Belmont Stakes valued at $2,000. Coming up next, we're going to take a look here at the main event coming up later on this afternoon. It will be seen on NBC, the Grade 1 Whitney. Some great moments in this race over the years. Back in 1973, Secretariat was 1-10 in this race. His first effort against older horses, and Onion. Earlier in the day, some thought he would actually scratch from the race, but instead the giant killer, the Chief, Alan Jerkins, with one of the great upsets in the history of Saratoga. 1978, one of the great performances ever in the Whitney. Aladar, his first against older horses that include J.O. Tobin, who was the first horse ever to beat Seattle Slew. Won by 10 lengths, and the crowd rose to its feet after that performance. And back in 2005, Commentator, one of his 2 wins in the Whitney. This was the first of the 2, beating St. Liam. He was near the back of the pack. It looked like 2 different races being run. He would run him down at the wire. Of course, Nick Zito would be inducted into the Hall of Fame the following Monday. And in 2015, Honor Code. He would catch Liam's map in the final strides, making it a Met Mile Whitney double. The 90th running of this historic race coming up later on this afternoon. Of course, it can be seen on NBC. But guys, Gunrunner, of course, the big story in this race, trying to make it 3 consecutive wins. He loves to do it on the front end. He should have some company, though, up front today.
Well, yeah, he's going to have 2 horses going inside him, but the fortunate thing for Gunrunner and his connections were that he drew outside of the other speeds. There was a Rabbit, Cautious Giant, who's clearly in there to try to help War Story, his uncoupled stablemate, as well as the 4-horse 2 Brutus, who's inside of him. But Gunrunner can stalk. The question, Tom, is does that take away some of his advantage because he's been so good bottoming out fields?
So we talked about it a little bit yesterday, Andy, and we talked about Gunrunner as a 3-year-old being a horse that liked to rate a little bit as they were trying to get more and more distance in him, prepare for that Kentucky Derby. now it's a different ball game. They're letting him do what he wants to do. You can make a strong case that his best races are indeed on the front end, Paul. When you look at this field and you recognize that Ron Luch has the one war story and has put a rabbit in here to go with Gun Runner, the question is he so tricky that he lets Gun Runner go to the front and takes back enough to go outside of him and pressure him? Could that possibly happen?
That's a good question, because you got a horse like Two Brutus as well, has been a front-running horse. And, you know, we'll show you this, the Stephen Foster, where he just basically cut out fractions, 47 and 1, 110 like a machine, and he won so easily. He actually got bored in the lane. Look like he switched to his wrong lane.
And he's not going slowly, Tom. It's not like he's going 24 and change and 49 and change. I'm not saying he's flying out front, but he's fast out front.
Well, that
he
race was
runs
over.
horses off of their feet.
It was over in the first 3/8 of a mile, and there was other speed in that race. For some reason, it didn't materialize. It just didn't become the race that it was supposed to be. I think it was flattering to Gun Runner, and I don't think that was a very good group of horses behind him.
You know, and the thing that if I'm riding or I'm not riding, but I think what Flo's thinking in this spot is, I got to pretend like the two horses in front of me are not in front of me, and I have to rate this horse, because the only way he loses this race, truly, is if he gets into a three-way duel, and these three horses do something insane. I just think he's so much better than Two Brutus, so much better than Cautious Giant, he shouldn't even worry about him in front of him.
He runs his race. He's one of the best horses, dirt horses in the world, not just this country. It's always good to have short-priced horses, but it does add a little bit of nerves when you're a heavy favorite, Greg.
Always difficult to have that target on your back, but that's where you want to be. Gabby Gaudette standing by with part of Team Gunrunner, Ron Winchell, the owner of the 4-year-old Star.
Absolutely, and it's a big day for Gun Runner and the team behind him. It's been a couple of great years for Gun Runner and the team as well. Ron, just talk a little bit about the ride that he's taken you guys on.
I mean, he's probably one of the most consistent horses I've had. So when you look at horse racing and you own horses, you're like, you want to show up and always be competitive. He's that horse.
And obviously a huge thrill going over to Dubai this year, unfortunately finishing second best of the best horse in the world. Talk about that.
I mean, that was a huge thrill. I mean, obviously, coming in the stretch, we thought we had a really good chance at winning. You know, all of a sudden they call Arrogate, and you realize, yeah, it's slipping away. But showing up second was fantastic in Dubai.
And he was a horse that was extremely talented and very good at 3 years old, but do you think that he's just getting better and better with age?
Well, throughout his 3-year-old year, we always thought the older he gets, the better he'll get. And it seems to have been one of the times where you think that and actually comes to fruition. And that's basically what we're hoping happens here, and that's what's happened so far this year.
And he went wire to wire last time out. He's a horse that has won several times on the lead. We all know Cautious Giant is entered in there for Luch as the rabbit. How could you see the pace scenario unfolding, and do you think he's a comfortable horse rating from off of it?
You know, actually, I think he's very comfortable rating. You know, the last 2 races being on the lead, I think gave people a misconception he had to have the lead. But he's not one of those horses that lends himself to having to chase the horse in front of him. And I think you've seen that in some of his other races, even in Dubai, where he didn't really have to be on the lead and chase the horse. So it's probably a little concern for us at this point.
How would it feel to get a race like the Whitney today?
The Whitney is a great race. Yeah, it's one of those races you'd love to check off and say, I won the Whitney, and this is why we're here.
All right, well, let's hope you check that off the list later today, Ron. Thanks for joining me.
All right, thank you.
Back to you, Greg.
Gabby, thank you. Well, guys, I know you've touched on this a little bit already, but that is the big story of this Grade 1 Whitney, tactics in this race, and what will Florent Geroux and what will Gunrunner be able to do. And also, you know, we've seen this being somewhat of a deep, tiring racetrack. There was concern from Steve Asmussen as well in regards to that.
Well, actually, this track has been pretty kind to horses that were forwardly placed. The question is, how close does Geroux want to be to the pace, and when does he want to make his move?
You know, that's a tough question to answer. You just don't know. Listen, you trained for Mr. P and Ron Palucci, and Paco Lopez is on Cautious Giant. He is going to go fast, 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 fast. So you don't even know if he's going to really, is he going to string him and Two Brutus out, or is Two Brutus going to not let him get too far away? This is going to be very interesting what does happen.
I think Florent's going to pretend those horses aren't even in the race.
Has to.
He's just going to ride his race. And look, if Gunrunner's what he has been over the course of his career, he won't have to ask.
Yeah.
He's just going to beat these guys.
We did see Left Bank set a track record, I think, at the time, and run a very impressive race winning the Whitney. And there was a very fast horse in there, and he was a sprinter stretching out. They let that horse go and run off in the front, and Left Bank easily went by him. Sort of the same thing you guys are talking about as far as ignoring the other two horses, just knowing Gun Runner is better.
Well, Florent Giroux, he'll have some decisions to make here early on in this race. Here he is talking about the pace he expects to see in the Whitney.
No, we'll see when the gates open. You know, look like there's a couple of speed, and especially a rabbit who's been sent, making sure Gun Runner is not by himself, on the lead. But if he goes, I just gonna track him, and if somebody wants to go with him, I just track them down. From the outside post, I can do pretty much anything I want. No, I'm not concerned at all. My horse has been winning before, off the lead, and even a great race in a Dubai World Cup, just setting off the horse in front of me. So I don't think it's a concern at all. I think Gun Runner is a different version of last year. He's stronger, better, and faster for sure.
Gun Runner 4-5, morning line favorite. He'll try and go back-to-back after winning the Grade 1 Stephen Foster last time out. You can build your bankroll for Travers Day with Naira Bets. Today, bet at least a $50 win bet on one horse in the Whitney, and you earn $20 for Travers Day regardless if you win or lose. Find details on the upcoming bankroll builders and all of the Saratoga promotions and Bet Saratoga Racing nationwide. You can get signed up and started at nairabets.com. Going to take a break in the action. We'll be back with more Saratoga Live in just a moment here on Whitney Day. Stay with us.
This three-time graded stakes winning millionaire defeated 20 Grade 1 winners. In the Dixie Stakes, he defeated Canadian champion and horse of the year Up With the Birds and set a new course record at Saratoga. Runner-up in the Grade 1 Manhattan and Shadwell Turf Mile, Ironicus ran 7 triple-digit buyers, including this score in the Fort Marcy Stakes. Half to 4 graded stakes winners, Ironicus has the speed, class, and bloodlines to become the next great sire by Distorted Humor. Ironicus at Claiborne Farm.
Selected sales, superior results. Success starts at Saratoga, the #1 ranked yearling sale in North America.
We found Belmont Stakes winner Taprit at Fasig-Tipton, Saratoga. Where will you be in August?
Before Tepin conquered the world, she was a Fasig-Tipton Saratoga sales graduate. Where will you be this August?
The Fasig-Tipton Saratoga sale, August 7th and 8th. Where will you be?
Undefeated in sprint competition, Eclipse champion Run Happy captured 3 Grade 1 victories and set blistering speed records at both Keeneland and Saratoga. In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, he dominated the world's fastest runners, going 6 furlongs in a record-breaking 108 and change. The only horse nominated for 3 Eclipse Awards, Run Happy was crowned champion male sprinter, all the while racing 100% drug-free. Champion, millionaire, record breaker, Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
And they're off. Naira Bets Pick 5 is now available exclusively online at nairabets.com. Bet the Naira Bets Pick 5 every race day with a 15% takeout on the last 5 races on the card from the country's best racing at Belmont and Saratoga. Find it nationwide on nairabets.com right in the bet type drop-down menu or at any Naira track or New York OTB location. Naira Bets Pick 5, racing's best bet.
Back on Saratoga Live, the Grade 1 Test and the Grade 1 Whitney still to come. You can catch those races on NBC. Want to remind everyone to watch Saratoga Live. Replays, expert analysis, videos, and workouts. It's all on demand and in HD with the NYRA Now app, the ultimate app to keep up with all the action at Saratoga this summer. Just go to the App Store, search for NYRA Now. It's a free download, so download that NYRA Now app today. 92nd running of the Longines Test Grade 1, and the West Coast invasion continues here. We saw Chalone for Peter Miller in the Jersey Girl. Back on June 11th, the Belmont just run a lights-out performance the day after the Belmont Stakes, but it's Fapien for Bob Baffert and American Gal, who used to be in Bob Baffert's barn, who are the top two choices on the board right now, guys.
Well, maybe if all the contenders get left, Chalon has a chance to win this time. She got very lucky by the break instead of slow pace. The West Coast people are so paranoid. They like to say we have some sort of East Coast bias. We have a bias towards good horses, and I think everybody up here feels like the two West Coast horses, the 8 and 10, are the horses to beat.
Well, the 8th horse is definitely the horse to beat. You look at her PP, she beat Moppetism, noted and quoted, and you look at American Gal. You know, she was in one of the weaker Beater Cup juvenile fillies field. Now, she did run nice last time out. She'd be an okay runner. I just think Fapien is the type of horse that Bob is bringing here. And when Bob brings a horse here by herself, he means business.
Yeah, he does. And on top of that, look, one stat that's not listed in the form is Bob Baffert's percentage when he shifts into New York. Now, a lot of people may not like it, but you sure as heck better respect it because that number is huge.
Yeah, he had a big day here in Travers Day last year. He's also very good turning horses back from routes to sprints as he is here in grade stakes. I'm going to defend American Gal a little bit. She ran crazy good in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Weak field or not, she had an insane trip from outside post. She ran great in her last race, the Victory Ride. She stumbled at the start. She dueled between horses, coming off a layoff and drew off. She's a sprinter and draws well. I think it is almost a dead heat between the 8 and 10 with a little 2 to move forward and win this race.
Yeah, let's not forget American Gal. We're talking about the 10. That was a Bob Baffert filly, and she began her career with back-to-back dominating wins, and then she's moved to the Simon Callahan barn. She has not missed a beat, at least in the one start since she has moved to Simon Callahan. We'll see what she can do here in the Grade 1 Test coming up. We are back on our normal time on Sunday, 4 to 6:30 Eastern Time. Check your local listings. Of course, it was Zenor for Kieran McLaughlin, Godolphin Racing, and Jersey Joe Bravo in the 5th running of the Fasig-Tipton Lure. He is becoming quite a racehorse here. He's won 4 of his last 5 starts. What a meet it has been for Kieran McLaughlin. Hope you've enjoyed it. See you on Sunday.